go, to get my point across, when we speak about the third eye, which is the very first eye. And if people have never experienced, that first eye, and you're comfortable, because people can be, you can you can damage your neurons, right? And in with your brain, if you're not comfortable, with these experiences, because sometimes
Mm.
it is a lot. It is a lot, and I've experienced a lot, Wale. And when I say a lot, it's I didn't have to develop this. This is already installed. This was passed down to me.
Mhm. I say we come with our intent intact. We come with it already. We know why we're here. We know what we come for. All we have to do is go inside and figure out, people, why am I here? Go inside and remind yourself, because you knew when you got here. But through all the learning and indoctrination and the trauma and stuff like that that life has in it, we a lot of people have forgotten. Like, we forget our dreams. The next day, next minute, next hour, we didn't forget the whole damn dream. And
Yeah.
by the next hour, we didn't forgot we had a dream, because that kind of level of consciousness and awareness is is not physical. It's not supported in the physical plane as
Mm-hmm.
much. So we have to be able to have a strong concept of the as you say, the other side, because there's a physical side of, that's how I see the mind works. It can work on the physical side, which it does as a computer and all that kind of stuff. It figures things out, locate things, all the parameters and stuff like that, and equations and whatever. And it can also access the what you call spiritual side, the non-tangible side, where ideas and stuff are, and where knowledge, wisdom, and stuff like that hang out, right? Where, and I call it the realm of the ancestors, is where we come from. But as an immortal, and as an immortal, we have the ability to use that portion of our mind. Other people use that portion of their mind too. It's not just us, like a racial thing. That's why I say, here we are looking at a racial thing, but that's not. That's a social construct.
Right.
You know what I mean? I hope you
Right.
know what I mean.
No.
Yeah, that's a social construct. I'm not. uh, The concept of human actually says I need a crutch, because human is half man. I heard that a guy say that about the Iran war I was watching, Colonel McGregor, and he said to the Arabs, Trump is their white slave, and to the Israelis, ditto, a white
Hmm.
slave. You know about Golem, I think is the way they
Oh,
pronounce it.
Goyim.
Golem,
Yeah, Goyim.
Goyim. Yeah, you know about them. That's what they calling him, right? Would you agree?
Well, I think that all Israeli people, well, not all. Let me retract that. In the Jewish religion, or in the Talmud, I would say that if you're not Jewish, you're considered goyim.
What about a Gentile? That's another thing, isn't it? Is a Goyim a Gentile? And why use two different words? Seem to me
Yeah,
that
that's where
they mean two
my
different things.
confusion lies right there. Like, I
Aha,
don't
because
know
they
why.
talk about two different things.
Yeah, and I would say this, Wale, is that you know with all these wars going on, it's
Oh,
almost like we're we're repeating history where history should never really repeat. And if history does repeat, we're all of us here are doing something wrong.
Wow, you went way over there, man.
Yeah.
That's a long. I'm thinking like this, okay? When you say history don't repeat itself, I say the sun just went around again in another repetition. So history to me is constantly repeating itself. Another tree just sprung up. Another fruit sprung up on the tree. Another wind just gusted. We History is constantly repeating itself to me.
Mm,
But
mm,
then
mm.
again, let me put it this way as well, so you can understand some of what I'm saying. History to me is not the past. History is a narrative about the past. So
Yeah.
when you say history, I didn't want to get deep into it like that. So I just took it to the turn that I thought maybe you were implying about history. And history should repeat it. Does not only should, it does repeat itself. And people say these cliches about if you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it. I
Yeah.
say if you look at it as an observer, scientifically speaking, you will find those who know their history or think they know their history are doomed to repeat it often. They'll tell you their history over here. You ain't even asked for it. They telling you their history over here. They're gonna repeat it often out of their own regurgitation of their history. They're repeating their history. And this is what they're building up as their history is actually their future that they're claiming because the history is the repetition of now. You understand what I'm saying by that? Okay, so
No,
now
yeah,
we got
I guess.
we have the ability. Well, see, because what's happening? Okay, manifestation. We started doing that before we were born. We were everything that you have around you and everything else is a manifestation that you created. People don't. I want to manifest a car. Everything you got, you then manifested it. You ain't never stopped manifesting. We are immortals. We are constantly manifesting. There's the thing about our bodies and stuff, being electrically charged. We have an aura around us of an electrical field. You recognize what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I agree with the auric field, that energetic
Okay,
field.
the auric field. Yeah, okay. I use science, so I say electrical because I know I can take the electrical pros and see my body has electric from my left to the right hand to the right left and to the right hand there's a voltage produced in a meter a voltage meter. It
Hmm.
produces a voltage. So I say electrical because I like to keep stuff in a scientific way. That way I can. That's how I learned it scientifically. This stuff. Okay, so now I say electrical charge. Anytime there's an electrical charge, I forget what they call it, but there's a eddy currents. There's eddy currents outside the electrical conduit itself, and they extend. It depends upon the currents. It extends outside of the body. People call that an aura or something like that. Okay, fine.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not
yeah.
arguing with that as a point. What I'm saying is that's how you got to it. Fine. So now I'm saying that when we want something and we have that current going back to the laws of nature, it's the laws of polarity. What you want will come to you from that same thing, law of attraction, because the attraction is the electrical um, polarity.
Hmm.
Polarity means you got a north pole and a south pole of the same magnet.
Hmm.
That's polarity. It's the same magnet, but you got a north pole and a south pole.
Yeah.
That's polarity. Okay,
Mm.
so when you that's the law of attraction. So when you want something, you put out this thing, it'll draw in this thing here, and that's done through electromagnetism. In
Right.
our state of mind and how we do it, how it's being done, actually we don't even know we're doing it because we've been doing it since we've been here as little babies and children and shit. We've been constantly manifesting all this stuff that came in your life, my life, and all that. We manifested all that stuff. I remember even though I was 3 years old, I had that thought that I was going to get my brother in trouble. So I went down to the canal and went swimming because he was supposed to watch me, but he wasn't. I was 3 years old, or maybe a little less. So I had conscious awareness, thought of what I was doing. I was creating my own reality. You see what I mean? I was manifesting. We all manifest all the time, and we
Yeah.
say we don't know this, we don't know that. Yeah, but we're busy manifesting and don't realize it because we're not raised in a society or a community that instruct us in that manner. We're raised in a society and communities that instruct us in other manners and not the manner of our ancestors. Because most of that stuff we get out of a book. Our ancestors didn't write our culture in a book much. I mean, you might find it here and there, but not much. So we have to get it from our ancestors. If we don't get it from the elders, the foreparents and stuff, then I have to. Everything is suspect. It's artificial intelligence. I
Hmm.
have to see for myself how they go. I'll take what you say, but I got to study it myself. You know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. To show and prove. I mean, I think this is. I love your standpoint. Your stance where your foundation is scientifically, and that the scientific approach, right, is one of the paths, right? Because to understand the world around you,
Mm,
it was created scientifically, right? So it would be good to understand the science behind things, to explain, so you would know. Before when we got off the stream with Greedy, I was thinking about it, and I was thinking about, the conversation. Basically, what the conversation also was talking about was believers and knowers, right? And that when I was just thinking when I was in the bathroom, I was thinking was like, okay, well, I know something that somebody hasn't experienced or doesn't know or hasn't figured out. And for me to try to get this person to know something, well, either you're going to have to study it, right? You're going to have to look it up, or you have to figure this out scientifically, or you'll have to experience it. Because it's hard for me to prove. Like, this is so difficult, Wale, when I'm speaking to people, right, where to prove, like, I can't prove lucid dreaming, like, in paper. It's it's hard. It's hard for me to prove that.
mhm,
And so like, the only way to prove that, the person must experience that.
mhm, mhm.
You get where I'm coming from?
Exactly, of course.
And with these experiences, I keep it to the main three, because I know the main three. I know everyone has experienced this, and I remember when I was younger, you know, and I tell this story all the time. It was the first time I had a deja vu. And I went to school, and I'm asking everyone, "Hey, you have a deja vu?" And everyone is saying yes, yes, I've experienced that. And then I thought to myself, well, if we have all experienced this, why aren't they teaching us how to use this? Why is this such a elephant in the room type of deal thing? I mean, we should be teaching this. We should be, teachers should teach this. Doctors, everyone should be engaged, but we're not. And that's when I identified, oh, we have a problem here. We all do something, and no one teaches us how to do this or enhance it. So I keep with the three uh, uh, experiences, the other side to yourself, whatever you want to call that, the consciousness, the mind, the spirit, whatever you want to label it, right? This is the other side to you. And I keep with the three, the deja vu, lucid dreaming, and wet dreaming, because I know majority of people have experienced this. Because after the three, Wale, there's more.
Yeah, a lot more.
There's a lot more here. And so with people, like I have to go in baby steps,
Hmm.
because after the three, I would now go, okay, all right, cool. You've had these experiences, right? You're coming to, like, you've experienced some type of form of your consciousness, your energy, right?
Hmm.
And so now the next step would be, okay, let me explain. Have you ever had what I just mentioned before, the out of body experience, where you looking at yourself sleeping and you're floating in the air looking at yourself? Some people that experience that, Wale, when they experience that, they wig out.
Right, right,
No,
right, right.
like they wig out. Now, Now here's where my mind now, my to look at this, to look at this experience here, is that if a person wigs out, whoever is in charge of you, or not in charge, I like to say, whoever's assigned to you, right, is like taking notes in a way that, okay, you're wigging out, maybe you're not cut for this. And then you get thrown back into your body and you wake up. Now, depending on how you were feeling, how were you taking that? Whoever's
Oh,
like
I,
assigned to
get what
you,
I think I understand what you're saying. And if you take it well, they figure, okay, well, you can take more. Okay, you pass to the next.
right,
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yes, that does make sense. Because
right,
otherwise, right, it's a neurological thing. A person can have a heart attack.
right.
Matter of fact, I've seen the neurological reactions of people sometimes. They're not ready. They're just not ready for that kind of concept. And when
Right.
they see it and realize it themselves, ooh, that's where the real paper, what they call it, the tire really meets the road. When you do it,
Yes.
when it happens to you. Oh yeah.
Yes. Yes. And then it is funny. It's funny because let's just say, like, let's just take uh uh Philly OG, and let's just say he had the out of body experience, right? So all of these years he's been saying this and this and this and this and that, right? And now has the experience. Now he's going to be now on the he's going to change his perspective on things, and now he's going to be dealing with people who were like him before. Like, no, 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 you're crazy. He'd be like, no, and then Philly's gonna be like, no, but I experienced it.
And,
And
and
it's
sometimes, even though people experience it, they are discredited to themselves of what their experience was. They'll recapsulize it and explain it away. Must have been
yeah,
them potatoes I ate. Must have been that lasagna. Like they were saying.
that's a good one. That's a good one.
But I've seen people explain it away. I've actually been with somebody and I say, did you see that? They say no, and don't you say nothing either.
Mm, mm,
Hmm.
mm.
They don't want to, and they don't want to realize. This is where I be saying a lot of times. People say, I know this, I know that, I know. Oh, I don't give that much thought. People say they know stuff. When you experience something and you realize what you experience. That's the real. That's when you bringing it into yourself now. Your real knowledge, your true I know. That stuff about I read a book and so I know how. You don't know nothing. Even if you read a book and you never changed the oil in the car, but you read how to do it. That's all you can say, honestly and truthfully, is that you read about how to do it, but you never did it. So you don't know how to do it, but you read, some the instructions. But once you get in there and do it, then you say, "Oh, I know how to do it." Because then you got to realize you ain't. The instructions didn't mention the pan. You got to have that, and you got to have this. You got all the precautions you got to take it, and the things to look for, and this kind of stuff. That the book may, I mean, the instructions may not have all of that. But once you do it and you realize what it actually takes, oh, I'm going to walk, over to this place or that place, and you ain't did nothing like that, or you never did it. Once you do it, you realize, and then that realization is the thing that brings. That's the truth of any matter, is when you realize it, and it's now more than just I know. It's something I realize, because a lot of the stuff I say we know everything because we are immortals. We know everything, but we are unable to realize everything, mostly because we are raised not to. Like you said about, okay, everybody's having deja vu, but nobody talks, guides it or teaches it. But in some societies, they do. They want to know. Like when I was a youth, we used to wake up in the morning, and Nana would say, "What did you dream?" Almost immediately upon waking. She want to know what you dreamed, and then everybody talk about what their dreams were and stuff, and keep that in mind. So now you're learning to use that muscle of memory on that side of the mind, not the physical side that you learn in school, but the side that you learn in dreams and stuff. And that's a side of memory. So you can remember things. It intensifies like a muscle. You're growing that muscle. Every time you recall your dreams, after a while, you'll be able to call your dreams more vividly. And as that progress goes on, that side of your brain starts functioning, and those synapses that almost never function in most people's mind. You know what I'm saying about synapses?
Yeah.
No, in the brain. Are you
Synapses
familiar?
meaning. Okay, break it down. Break it down.
Okay. Electrical connections and electrical sparks are called synapses in the brain.
Mm.
So, like, okay, when a person hears something, I mean, sees or realizes something that they never realized before, the brain will build a conduit to that information. The brain will build a conduit to that information. It's almost like, okay, I think of these things in terms like library and stuff like that. Now you got this whole section, this new section in the library, and that's the synapses. You can go in there and read stuff up on it and stuff like that. So now you got, but in that area there, other things are more possible once you get in that room, and that room is built up, okay, because you have realized this new concept. Every new concept builds creates new synapses or new environments for new synapses that occur. All the synapses is the conglomeration of the brain doing all like everybody said, how many gigabytes is in your computer? All them synapses, that's all that is. And I relate it to the synapses because you got a 5 billion synapses brain. You know what I mean? You got more gigabyte type attitude in your brain than a person with maybe 25 synapse. You know what is it now? 625, I think it is. Synapses is a regular brain for the computer, the storage and all that kind of stuff for the computer. So every time you add something new, you can remember a lot more based upon that new thing you just brought in. It's like you know about do you understand what I'm saying? I can stop talking about this
No, no,
and
no,
go.
no, 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 no. I know. I understand perfectly what you're saying because I love
Okay
how
then.
you use computer analogies, which which mimics the body and the mind and all of that. So yeah. Sorry, buddy. Keep going. Let me not break you. Sorry. Sorry.
I would just say I would use another analogy. because I was going to go to fractal banking and all that kind of stuff. Because you know, when you put $100 in the bank, they can loan 1,000. Oh, 900. They can loan 900. If
Hmm.
on your 100, they can loan 900.
Yeah.
That they call that fractal banking and stuff like that. So they can get more money off your money than you can get off your money. That's why banking pays so much, because they do this fractal banking and yeah, whatever. It's just something to do. But I'm saying this is how fractals is and synapses and all that stuff is involved in this brainwave thing that I'm talking about. So now that you have admitted you are doing this muscle thing of building yourself on that side of the non-physical side of the world through your dreams and remembering them, and being able to keep that world as it was real to yourself, because most of the america American social society pushes that out of children. Stop daydreaming. You know, get out of that imaginary stuff. Grow up, boy. You know, stuff like that they say to us,
Yeah.
so that we can stop using that side of our brain. You better get some logic. Logic is on the other side. This, you know, 1 + 1 = 2.
Hmm.
And but on the other side, the non-physical side, 1 + 1 don't equal 2. But you don't. You got to strengthen that side so you can keep that side available to you. The side that you have been referring to as spiritual. You just build that muscle up and go there often. In the dreams, that's a good way to build that muscle. Imagination, another good way to build that muscle. Wow. Meditation, another good way to build that muscle.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. That's just the muscle of that side of the brain. I ain't get to the mind yet, because we have to control our minds. A lot of what they call them, orators. A lot of orators and philosophers of our time, our current time. You can think of some names, and I'll just say yeah, because I don't want to call people's name. But they start talking about all is mind, it's everything is mental, and all that kind of crap. That's crap. You can kick that in the bucket. That's not it. The mind is a tool for the self. All is the I. The I is all. And then the I has a mind, and the I has a body when it's in this spatial context of, time and space continuum that we call the world or life and stuff. The mortal existence. That's a space, it's a space and time continuum. That's all it is. It's wash, rinse, repeat. Wash, rinse, repeat. That's all you do here. You're born, you live, you die. Everybody does it. It's wash, rinse, repeat. And then you say history, that's all it is. It's the same history. It's the same story over and over. But if you think your story is something different, you out of cycle, and you never seen the washing machine be hitting real hard because it's not really sitting right or something, and it's supposed to go in this circle, spinning, but it's hitting because it's not sitting correctly or something, and
Yeah.
it hit. That's why we say we have problems and stuff, because we're not spinning on a level, for our ancestry. That's how I see it,
You
and
know,
and
you
I
said
see
a
it, the
you said a
science.
profound thing, um, Wale, how
I see.
you're growing up, right? So you drowned at 3 years old, right? That's profound because you're still here, right? So something brought you back, right? That's one. Number two is your upbringing. If you had a parent elder telling you, right, which I'm going to be, I don't have children, but if I do, this is going to be one of the things that I'm going to say to my child. um hey, all right, what did you dream about? So the child gets comfortable about, that other, strengthening that muscle, as you say, because if you have a parent that's aiding you to strengthen that muscle at a young age, by the time you're 20, you're you're heading onto mastery hood here. And then in your 30s and 40s, you're going to activate every part, every cell, everything that this body was designed, to do. Because I noticed one thing, like that, you know, like the establishment, the society, has done a great job. I give them a lot of credit for shifting us away from our, as you would like saying, that shifting us, that strengthening of that muscle. They've shifted that, and this is what I give credit for them for doing a great job, because you know the body didn't come with a manual. You know how, like, when you buy something, like when you buy, like, a, let's just say, a VCR, or DVD player, or a tablet, it comes with a set of instructions so you can fully use this device till its full capacity. But when it comes down to us and the whole human body and the mind, like, there isn't a manual for that, so we
I,
can.
I, I how do you say? I disagree. Yeah, that's the
Okay, go ahead.
mouthful.
Yeah.
I disagree. I think it does come with a manual. That's how the manual even comes about, because it comes naturally as a representation of something that's natural. The manual itself. Uh, uh, Mammalians, mammals have mothers, and the mothers are the manuals. Because even though you're born, you cannot exist. You must have the rest of the story from the mother, right? They call that breast milk, until you are able to digest the other things that are here. And the breast milk from the mother gives you certain enzymes that your body couldn't finish through the umbilical cord. The umbilical cord simply built the physical body, right? Now the breast milk feeds that body all the hormones and stuff like that it needs to be to repair itself, to be a proficient machine. That takes usually, I don't know how many months, but that takes a while too. So the mother all the time is busy. Should I mean not should be the is busy giving the child the manual, telling them what to do, what not to do, this and that. Always speak the truth. Cleanliness is next to godliness. The mothers will be telling them that from my mother was telling me that when I was 3. So I know these things. Because some children I know they breastfed till they were 4 years old. I'm like, wow, that's wild. But I ain't into that. But there you go. But I'm just saying, once you get that, you got to get that. But the rest of that information, people think that the whole thing happened. You're born, then there you go. You're done. You can take formula. Formula is not good for the babies. That's why we got boys with breasts and women and girls with mustaches and beards and stuff. Because formula is not good for the baby. Breast milk is better because breast milk is specific, gender hormonal specific. You know that?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe not. You never had children,
No, no,
right?
no,
So
no. But I'm aware. Look, I'm aware of that for sure.
okay.
That it's the formula, that are, it's our society, the way how things are structured, and they're fully aware of who we are, what we are, how we are, and so to make sure we don't fully get into the what and who you are, formula is introduced, right? The toothpaste, all what society has done, has deterred us from the who and the what. And I think that's the
But yeah, we're in a society that's not of our own making. We are involved in a society that's a Western society, as they call it. It's Occidental, as I call it. It's from the Occidentals.
mm,
And I say our people are originally Orientals. Actually, we are the original Orientals. We there was before us there were no Orientals, and then when we came there's Orientals because we are the original Orientals, and then the people who are called Orientals today, they're just merely Asians. But Oriental and Occidental is a state of mind or a purview of nature. It's a paradigm.
mm,
It's a paradigm. It's a view of how things work, and cosmic perception.
mm,
Like I
mm,
was saying about the creator. The creator is always creating. That's a cosmic conception. That's a conception of cosmic reality. That's totally different than the Occidental, which says, whatever it says. Everybody knows what it says because most people were born in Occidental societies. Conquer, get yours, the fittest, and all of them things that go in that whole language concept. Uh, man is even with the man is more superior to the woman. All that is Occidental. In
mm,
Oriental, especially the original Orientals, man and woman are not against one another. They're polarities, yes, of
right,
the same pole, though. That's
right.
that side of the pole and this side of the pole. We are the same pole. There's no opposite in meaning that we fighting each other. It's opposite in meaning that we work together.
Mm,
Because if you spin a pole like that, do you know what happens when a pole a magnetic pole spins at a particular rate? Are you familiar with what happens?
no, I couldn't tell you.
Oh, that's how electricity is transmitted. You take a pole and you put it on a windmill or anything that spins, a fan, don't matter, and you put the what do they call armatures on either side of it. The armatures are magnetically responsible now. So now when you spin it real fast, what's happening at the armature is that it's going from negative to positive at a quick rate, which builds up what they call current. Now you put one on either side, like you go on either side, like of a circle. Now you got one on each side, the armatures, and both of them are catching that spin. You'll see it in your any motor. This is all motor. That's why I say it's all scientific. But it's a motor. So now when we working together, and me and the male and the female, then we working together, we create something bigger than ourselves. That's what the polarity is about, to create something bigger than yourself. It's all very scientific, in as much as when you spin like that, you're creating what's called a motor. And you can
Mm,
draw electricity from that motor. They call it wind, wind energy or something, or water, because water do the turbines do the same thing. All they
turbines,
do
right.
is spin. All they do is spin, and then that spinning is what they juice the electricity off. Is that spinning? It's the
Yeah.
same concept. It's a polar spin because it's a left, a negative positive spin.
Hmm. Hmm.
So you see how I see it scientifically, all of this stuff, without had the mask or the. Okay, what happened? They said to me that our people knew this about the scientific way, but when the European came or the Occidentals came and were doing their little, we kill everything because they kill a lot of stuff. That's their motto. Like, that's what they do. You see, they doing it now. They kill stuff. And even that, the one who it's the ones who kill the most are the most recognized, like Hitler. You can't say Hitler without people recognizing who you're talking about right away. Why? Because he killed a lot of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Alexander the great murderer. Why is he so great? He killed a lot of people. They revered, even all the way down to, what's the boy name? Elliot Ness. And who was Elliot Ness running behind? The mob. Why they were running behind Yeah, I don't know them guys' name in the mob, but y'all know them guys' name. Cause why you know their name? Because they famous. Cause they killed a lot of people. That's their culture. That's Occidental culture, man. They killed a lot of people. That to them, that's like what? Man, you great. I'm
Yeah,
telling you, huh?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's I've never heard someone put it in that term, Occidental and Orient. I've never. That's kind of a good way to look at it. You know, seems like two forces really. You know, one positive and one negative, right? So, yeah,
Not, I don't see it like that personally. I mean, I know you're assuming because did you know about Occidental and Oriental before I spoke about it today?
no, no. This is no. That's why I'm saying
Okay,
it.
so you're assuming these things that you just put online. And I'm saying that that's an assumption because they are not opposites of one another. They are not, that's not the relationship. The relationship is actually very much different. But I understand that you do that because you're solidifying you haven't yet inculcated the difference, and I understand that at this point. No problem. So the idea though is that we have a perspective of the cosmos all in and of itself in a different manner. What you guys are doing, I call skipping time, the deja vuers, and the people who have, like a dude came to me, about your age. He came to me one day. I mean, he came across my path. We intersected. And soon as he saw me, I could see in his eyes, he thought he knew me. He said right away, I dreamed you. I said, what? And he repeated himself. He lives in France.
Hmm.
We're able to skip time and space when we're in that arena because time and space don't really hold the same place in that arena of that side that we're talking about now, that you
Yeah.
refer to as spiritual.
Hmm.
Time and space is different. Matter of fact, it's not even there. You can go from one place to another place instantaneously
Yeah.
in that region or that realm because
Yeah.
there's no time and space.
Yeah. Absolutely. That French man that you met. I've experienced that. Like I've dreamt about someone, and then in the next couple of days, all of a sudden I'm meeting them. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. That was the first time doing that. That was like, whoa, whoa. Okay, that was a shock to the system. How could that
Right.
be? How could that be? And I did a video, of what you just said about, transporting from one place to another. And I've noticed that, in the dream state, these doors, okay, like you can, and the example I use, right, is what I experienced. I was at the park and I opened the door. And then once I opened the door, now I walk through the door. Now I'm in someone's living room. Like being at it's I wouldn't know if you want to call it like a wormhole or what you were
Hmm.
saying. How you can it's almost like teleporting to another location. But that's one of the ways I've experienced. Just going through a door and being in another location. I thought that was really interesting.
Mm.
And
Okay.
have you seen the movie The Matrix Part 2?
Oh, I think so.
Okay, there was a scene where Neo was looking for the Oracle and then he ran into the Asian guy and then they went through that door and that
Uh
door
huh.
put him in a hallway full of doors and then they opened up the door, and then there was the Oracle sitting at the park, and
Right.
Neo went, and that, and when I saw that, it was just like, huh. So someone knows exactly how this dream state operates, because it's like, how would you know that? How would you put that in a movie and show these doors taking you to different places?
Mm-hmm.
Like, to me, someone
And
really knows about, let's just say, the other side, or the realms, as
of course,
some Gnostics
ev-
would say.
a lot of people know a lot. Just up your level of people you hang with. There's a thing called the masses. Are you familiar with that concept? The masses.
Now break it down. Let's see what your definition of it.
Okay, the masses is almost like cream. The cream rises to the top, and stuff like cottage cheese falls to the bottom,
Mm,
right? But the cream, the milk, is on the surface of that cottage cheese type stuff at the bottom,
mm.
right? Most people are cottage cheese.
Hmm.
They can rise. I ain't saying they have to stay there, but that's where they're at. They're in that phase of life, as it were. If you want to think in terms of steps up and down and all that kind of stuff. They don't have to be that, but that's where they are. You manifest your own thing. So the more they manifest their own thing, they can come up and be way above all of that, the top of be the foam at the top of the cream, the foam at the top. If that's what, they've set their mind to, anybody could. We are all gifted in that fashion that we are creating our own, manifesting our own future all the time, all the time. That's the part that I think people, because we're thinking in terms of mortality. Something lives, it dies, that's the end of it. It got a beginning and an end. Everything got a beginning and an end. No, it doesn't. And when we try to tell people, like, we talk about the creator and creation. Creation don't have no beginning and end. Creation is the beginning and the end. Without creation, there would be no beginning and end.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the concept. Beginning and end is in this creation. It's like a bubble. This is where it happens. If it don't happen in this bubble, it don't exist in this kind of reality. Or maybe you got to go to the next bubble and go in that reality or something. I don't know. But in this reality, ain't nothing outside the creator. And the creator is manifest. It manifests every moment, this creation. And we are pro-creators. That's why they say, "Oh, you're a god" or something like that. You know what I mean? That boy was in the book of that was somebody else's story. They just inserted Jesus and made it like it was him. But the guy was walking over the water with his friend, and the friend didn't realize he had walked him to the water. He was so encapsulated in the conversation, right? And he
Yeah.
walked him over the water. As soon as the friend realized he was over the water, he fell in. You know that story?
No.
Huh?
No, I don't. I haven't heard that, but I
That's
understand the concept.
yeah. That's how it goes. It's a lot of stuff we can do, but our minds have been our being, our expressions have been are being systematically op- oppressed and depressed and suppressed
Yes.
and repressed.
Yes. Yeah.
Our
No.
children
No.
come here to express themselves.
No. You're absolutely right. Well, I mean, this is like you said, it is the Occidental kind of theme here, where they don't want that happening. Like, for me,
Oh,
experiencing one of my past lives, right? Because there are many, right? But just experiencing that past life changed everything for me, because it
mhm.
was like, wow, okay, so I've been here before. And
Uh-huh.
through that experience that I had, it was just like, okay, so what was I doing in this life? You know, and all of these questions that I had now were being answered. And it's funny how things operate that way. Like, if you, because you're speaking about manifesting, right? And so,
Uh-huh.
what you think about, right, will come to pass, right? Or whatever that you want will come to pass, right? So that was one of my, when I experienced a past life, I wanted to know now, okay, what did I do, and what was the occupation, and da 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 da. And life now, in my life, this life now formulates, okay, so this it formulates to, this is what you was doing. It's happening in your life right now, but you just have to be aware of it. And so that was a life changing moment for me. It took a while to come to this awareness, to
Yeah.
even come to grips with, this, being able to do more things, in the dream state, and experience more. Like, it took, like, it took a long time to stomach it, but once
Ooh.
I adapted, once I agreed with it and said, okay, all right, I accepted it. Now, even more started to happen. Oh, I guess Wale must have cut out for a minute. So since Wale has cut out for a minute,
No,
we'll
I ain't
have.
cut out. I haven't
Oh,
cut
okay.
out, actually.
Oh, okay.
But you can
Okay.
do
Okay. I
whatever you
thought you.
do. But I haven't cut out. You were speaking, and I was just listening to you. And I had did something on the. Yeah, I did something with the. I shared the thing out, and that's where I
Oh, okay.
was. So I didn't actually cut out. But if you have something you want to do, please do it, man. Go right ahead.
Oh, no, 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 no. No, just I'll continue speaking. You know, and for that, for me, was a game changer. The being the reincarnation thing, and now, you know, understanding what I was doing back then is the same kind of ordeal what I'm doing now, speaking about the other side to us, and mentioning, these realms, these different worlds that you can shift your energy or consciousness to, these different worlds. And what's funny, Wale? I looked into, because I'm looking for, um like, somewhat proof, to where I can, okay, this, like, I can show someone, like, okay, look, this is where it was written, for people that are source based like that. And so I looked into the Templars, right? Because there's something there with the Templars, that I'm somewhat connected to. And with the Templars, I always wondered, why were they ordered to be executed by the Vatican Church? And so I looked into it, and lo and behold, one of the, in the medieval times, one of the biggest betrayals, that's ever been dated in history, where the Knight Templar figured it out, Wale. And when I say figured it out, this is what I mean by figuring out. They were these knights, or these monks, you know, were gathering They were traveling the world, gathering spiritual wisdom from all parts of the world. And when they did this, they were able to now go into the Egyptian concept, know thyself. And when they meditated, they started to develop their gifts, right? What's inside of them, they realized who the parasite was. And it's very interesting. It's a very interesting group of individuals there where you can say the word phrase here, they tapped in. They figured
Okay.
out the layers of self, their
Yeah.
multi-dimensional self. They experience more of their for lack of better terms, their spiritual forms that they have. Like most of them would have the eye in the sky dreams or meditations, right? And and they were going higher on the spiritual plane here. And the Vatican didn't like that because they're knowing the truth about things where the Vatican is trying to suppress it. And so they ordered these knights or monks because they were spreading, right? They're spreading their knowledge. They're spreading they had a lot of money. So, you know, so to betray them because they knew the truth about things, I was just like, wow, fascinating. Because everyone, you couldn't be no one, you just couldn't be a Knight Templar. You just couldn't say, hey, you couldn't knock on the Templar door and say, hey, I want to become a Knight Templar. No, no, you couldn't do that. You would have to go through a physical and a spiritual test, which I found, I was like, wow, very interesting. That a person would have to pass a spiritual test in order to join. And one of the parts of those spiritual tests, right, coincide with the physical. So they would say, okay, you would physically, to join, you can't have sexual encounters right now. The Templars would say, we want you to keep all of that inside of you, because what ends up happening, all of that energy, all of that fluid and that power now reverts back inside of you, which is going to force you to have, because you're building up energy now, which now in your dream state or meditation, it will now you have more access to it because you have all of this energy built up inside of you. So now your meditations and your sleep patterns, you're going into these realms.
Okay. That's the Templars.
And that was the Templars.
That
And
has
it's
anything to do with the Kabbalah?
uh I think that the Kabbalah is, I think that's an Egyptian word, right? Right? Or they took
Oh,
that.
okay. I
You
didn't
have the
know it to
Ka,
be.
yeah, you have the Ka, and then you have the Ba, right? I know that's Egyptian, right? The body and the soul,
Oh,
right?
okay. I would go with that, but I'm gonna write it in here, Kabbalah, and
Hmm.
they're gonna give me the common, the common references. Okay, okay. So the
Yeah.
Kabbalah. The Kabbalah is an esoteric method, discipline, and school of thought in Jewish mysticism that explores the hidden nature of God and the universe. The
Yeah.
core concepts, the the Sephirat,
Sephirah. Yeah.
which is 10 divine attributes or emanations through which God reveals and sustains the universe, often visualized as a tree of life.
Yeah.
In Sof, the indefinite, infinite, unknowable, and absolute divine essence prior to any manifestation. Tism, Zoom, Tism, oh, this one is beautiful. Tzimtzum, Tism, the cosmic contraction or withdrawal, withdrawal of divine light to create a void, making space for finite existence. These are the core concepts of the Kabbalah, and the Kabbalah is an esoteric method, discipline, and school of thought that explores the hidden nature of God and the universe. If I change a couple of the words, I'd agree with it. Like, then God is the creator and the creation. They say the universe, the creation. And then I could say, okay, I understand exactly what they're talking about. They say Jewish mysticism, and they say mysticism, and they say Jewish because the Jewish picked it up, like you say, from the Egyptians. You
Yeah.
were right on the Kabbalah. As you defined it, I agree with that definition from how you rooted it out, right, through the Egyptian, Kaaba. So I agree with that already, but I wanted to tell you how it's commonly being received as, right?
Yeah. And really, the Kabbalah really, and that tree, that, and it's funny how they use the tree of life. You
Hmm.
know, it's almost it's just like a representation of self, also. You know,
Yeah, they
the
call it, it's like the Star of David. They call it the Tree of Life. They call it the Star of David. But it was an
mm,
esoteric concept and design before they even came around. These things are scientific designs. Those angles and all that stuff that are in these, the Star of David, this thing in the Tree of Life, all them other things, you know what I mean? Even the cross. The cross
yeah,
was in use long before Jesus even came, thought about, before whoever, anybody even thought about, no, Jesus.
right,
The cross has been in use a long time. It's not new. They just picked it up and used it. Like they
right.
picked up the Star of David and used it. They pick and then claim it because they ain't nobody else using it.
Yeah, and I think they just like reworded things, like you said, repackaged certain things or repressed it, like suppressed it and then repackaged it as their own.
Uh,
Oh,
uh,
it was
yes,
it was a good it was
very
a
well.
pardon, sorry.
I say very well done. That's exactly what I'm saying. And that, as far as I know, that's exactly what's happening. And not did happening, is happening.
Right. Have you heard I looked into, even pre-Christianity, right? There's a period there uh before, somewhere around Roman times, right? Where there were some more Gnostics, and these Gnostics were called the Valentinians.
Uh-huh.
And these Valentinians came up, I wouldn't say came up with it, but you see how there's the Kabbalah, right?
Uh-huh.
There's something called the Pleroma,
Uh-huh.
right? And in this Pleroma, right, it's going into even more details, how the Pleroma is structured. It's structured when you superimpose the pleroma on the human body, it kind of like matches up with things. And
Uh-huh.
how the Gnostics, and it's crazy how they say they're mystics too, because there's something mystical about us, right? That they
Mm-hmm.
figured out also, and how they broke it down.
Mm-hmm.
I think was in the Secret Book of John, and this is
Mm-hmm.
where I'm questioning a lot of the brothers that are so called researchers and scholars for the black community and all of this. In these Gnostic texts, they mention the first animation of light. And the first animation that came out of this pure light, this is how the Gnostics were breaking, you know, God, source, universe, time creator down. They were breaking it down as pure light, and
Mm-hmm.
how pure light, the first thing that came out of, or the first creation, not thing, the first creation to come out of pure light was a female named Barbello. And I find this very interesting how none of these brothers or anyone else that are somewhat mainstream and have read like the Apocrypha, the Secrets of John, and all of that, how come they're not mentioning what I'm talking about now? I find that very interesting that the first creation out of this pure light was a female by the name of Barbello. And this concept that the Gnostics were having, like sometime before Rome really took power, that this concept was Egyptian, and that name Barbello is Isis, but they putting it in their terms. And I'm like, wow, so all of this is linking up to some type of truth here.
Mm-hmm.
And when you experience it,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it validates what is written.
Okay, okay. There's some of the words that you use, like the first thing that came out was a what? What did you say it was?
It was well, I would say the Gnostics said it was a woman named Barbello.
Okay, I would say they probably use the word female and not woman. If you use the word female, then you're on to the personification of nature. When you say
Yeah,
female, if you say woman, you're into some kind of thing I can't recognize on a scientific basis.
yeah,
So then I have to change it to female, which is probably the word they used
yeah.
at the time, because this has all been translated three, four different generations of translations. Am I correct? At least
Facts.
two,
Yeah,
right? Because
facts.
you don't read Greek, but pleroma, I
Yeah.
speak of it often. I refer to it as plenum. You're familiar with plenum?
No, no, that's the first time I'm hearing it. Let me
Plenum
look.
is also is from pleroma. Pleroma is Greek for fullness. Plenum is what the fullness is made up of. Plenum. Like they in this concept, are you familiar with Gnosticism first? What do you Gnosticism mean? Gnostic means to know. Yes?
To know. Right.
Huh? Yes?
Yes.
Nos means to know. Are
Yeah.
you with me on this? Or am I there in
I'm following.
left field? Okay. Gnostic means to know. That's why they're not into belief. They were into knowing things, and they would know the thing through the scientific method, as I put it. But the fullness, the pleroma, is the fullness, is a heavenly center of divine life, and the pure eternal spirit realm. right?
Mm.
Because
Yeah.
even now, I've inculcated or realized about a few months ago, actually, not quite, maybe quite a year, that I've been blessed eternally and didn't even know it or realize it and thought I had an enemy because the society impresses those things upon us. And then when I realize I have no enemy, I say realize, not become to know it, but realize it in a realness of reality. Yes, like I can walk on water or I can't. I have to realize each one of those realities, yes? And when I go to walk on the water, if I walk on it, then that's real to me. I can realize that. But if I go right into the water, then I have to, that's real to me too. I have to realize that and keep it in the, that's what I'm saying about realizing something. So then at this point, the fullness of reality as we understand it, there is no empty space. That's the plenum pleroma, the fullness. That's what I'm talking about when I say Oriental, the original Oriental
Hmm.
concept is there is no empty there. There is no empty space. A void. They mention a void. Where did void come from? Because there is no empty space. So a void appeared. I don't know how they say that in their little books and different things, right?
Hmm.
Different scriptures, because they everybody talks about this, and the Hindis talk about it, the Chinese talk about it, everybody talks about it, right? So I'm
Hmm.
not saying it's just this people or just that people, but I'm saying that's why I say the as they call it Jewish this and Jewish that. The Jews just picked up on it, man, and carried and could see the validity and the usefulness of it, and they used it on people, and that's why all over the world people hate the Jews because they were using this what they call it, mysticism on them. Even over in what's his name in in Hitler's time and during that war, they had a lot of mystics working for them. You know that, right? They were
Hmm.
trying to they could use see, so it's still following the same concept in line. So now they were trying to use it right and set it up. Now they're using it here. I think even Reagan had a fortune teller on permanent basis, like a secretary or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Reagan Ronald, he had a permanent reader, him and his wife,
Hmm.
a spiritual reader, not just a spiritual guy, a reader, somebody who read something, the doggone tarot or something. You know what I mean? They had a reader. So
Yeah.
everybody's doing this thing. So it's hard to call it, oh, it's this or it's that, or where the origin started. But I do find out that in most of the stuff that's called Occidental, they want to fight about this Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost thing, and believe in this and that and the rest of that stuff. They seem to want to do that stuff, like it was no women, no females, excuse me, involved in the manifestation of nature and reality. A reality. There was no female involved.
Yeah. I
Of
don't
course,
like
there.
when I don't like when
Yeah.
they do that. It shows a lot of chauvinism, and a lot of ego, you know, to throw the woman out of the equation. That's almost lunacy in a way to me. But that
That's their.
to speak on what you're mentioning, Wale, okay,
Mhm.
with Reagan having these advisors, these readers, these ones that are really tapped into self, because this
Uh
has
huh.
been here. This isn't like this is and for the fact that they engage with people like that like they already know what's happening. I found out that even the CIA, for an example, has psychic investigators. Like whenever they want to figure something out, they'll go to the psychic, or they'll go to that person, that gifted individual, and ask this person, okay, could you remote view for us to see what they're doing, or and I'm like, wow, so you guys already know the game. You're just keeping the people away from it. And I think that's the trick, to make sure that whoever has these type of understandings like yourself, right, and are experiencing more, right, that okay, they've got to figure out how to make sure to control you, because anyone, right, because this is what I'm experiencing, Wale, right, this might sound weird to some folks, but it's okay, that anyone that you're on this and these type of the conversations we're having, especially when we're speaking about, dreaming and neural pathways, your right brain, left brain, and da 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 da, you now, whether you want to know it or not, that you now become a threat to the establishment, because you have this, because you have, for an example, like I said, the eye in the sky, for an example. For the fact that I can do that and talk about it and tell everyone else that you can do this, it's all inside of you, and da 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 da. Like, I'm a threat.
I know you see yourself in that fashion, but I'm pretty sure no one else sees you in that fashion.
Well, I don't expect anyone. I don't expect anyone to, unless you are, you've developed this, or you're born with this. Because what ends up happening now is that, you know, look, I just say it like this, Wale, right? On the least amount end. Throughout my year, okay, throughout the year, I'm up to remembrance, okay? Right? I'm up to over 300 and something. I think like, this is the bottom end of it. Let's just say 320 lucid dreams in my 1 year that I remember, and I've even written them down
Beautiful.
to as I can if I can go back and read what I wrote, I can bring it back forth.
Yeah,
So
like it happened on the physical level too, with that
right,
kind of intensity and reality. Yes, of course.
right, and so with these with these 320 lucid dreams, right? A lot of
Hmm.
things have happened. I've seen a lot, and
Yes.
some of those were premonitions per se, right?
Hmm.
And I've also seen who else is spiritually gifted out here,
Okay.
right? And it's it's kind of mind blowing,
Mm.
because I wasn't aware. It's almost like you can even, I shouldn't even say this much, but I'm gonna say it anyway,
Hmm.
right? It's almost like you can see what people are doing behind closed doors, and that,
Okay.
my friend Wally, is a problem for some people.
Uh-huh.
But I
Uh-huh.
do come in peace, though. And,
Yeah, yeah, I understand that too. Because yeah, I understand that too. But I've also realized that a lot of stuff that once I got into that lucid dreaming, I was going to ask you about that. What do you mean by that? Lucid dreaming.
when you know that you are dreaming, when
Hmm.
you come to that, I love the word that you use. You say, when you realize,
Hmm.
right? When you realize you're dreaming, now things change. Like, and whatever realm you're in, you can change this realm you're in,
Okay.
you know, and it's okay to explain. Okay, to explain this, right? If you've seen that, you've seen the chakra system, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's
Uh-huh.
color coded. Okay, so all right, so when you're experiencing this color code, like there's seven, but really there's nine realms, right?
Okay.
There's nine realms. So if you just look at the to break it down even simpler, if you just look at the chakra system, right?
Mhm.
So you there are three lower realms you're in, and then there are three, yeah, and then there are three higher realms. And whenever you're
Okay.
having, these nightmares, or you're getting attacked, or somebody is trying to put a spell on you, right? You're experiencing the lower three.
Hmm.
But then when you're having these dreams where you're the eye in the sky, or you're flying, or you've developed extraordinary powerful strength, you are experiencing the three higher realms. Just breaking it down in simple forms.
Okay. I,
You know,
I
and
know that I know them to represent different locations on the body
yeah,
and the activities of those locations. Is that what you're referring to by the chakra?
yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we on course. So what about the lucid dreaming though? That's what I was asking you about.
Oh, that's when you know that when you've come to that realization where like I've done this before, right? Where I know I passed out. Like I'm in the dream, and I know that I passed out. Like I was aware of that. And then
Okay.
now, once you have that realization, it's almost like you become, like, you can do whatever kind of, you can change everything. It's almost like the you and your highest self, your true self now has linked as one. Like that higher version of you and your higher version, when you come to that, like you're linked together.
I put it. I understand what you're saying, and
Hmm.
that's what I say. That the what you call your higher self is yourself. That's the
Yes,
self that you are, and
yes,
it's but you have a chance to interact on a more personal basis with the what they call it, the brain of the machine, like you like a mechanic would work on the brain of the machine or the body of the machine, right? You get what I'm saying? This is what happens when we sleep. We give the self a chance to repair the body and resuscitate the body and the mind, so it can. That's why I say you can get answers if your mind has a question. Once you once you go to dream state, you can pull the answer. You can get the answer if that's what you remember to ask for when you get there. And to that, what I mean by get there is in the dream state, and be aware that you're in the dream state. You can get the answer right quick because all of the answers are there. All knowledge, as it were, about this universal thing. I mean, not universe. This natural, what's in this, what we call the creation.
hmm
All knowledge of it is in there, in that time and in that space. All the whole record, all that kind of stuff. They call it the Akashic record and stuff. They got names for different things, but it's all there. You can accept you are able. I don't know if you're capable, but it's accessible. Some people are not ready, like you say. Some people will spasm. Some people have a heart attack. I've known people that, I mean, really to have had a heart attack. Some people commit suicide. They be like, "What? This is what it is." They just can't take the cognizant dissidence. Their mind won't flip to the new reality. The paradigm won't let go. They won't let go of the paradigm. They start shuddering and shivering and stuff like epileptic.
Yeah, that's that's something that, like I said earlier, also, you know, some people, and I'm just keep it blunt with you. Some people are not cut for this. It's almost that your ancestry bloodline has to anoint you, for this, you know, um, you can say job or assignment per se, right? That you have to be proven worthy first, and once proved worthy, you can continue on to the next step of things. Because this is the way I can look at it. This is the only way I can tell people about this, is that your ancestry, right? That they're running with you. They're inside of you. They can speak through you and all of that. And so, to make sure that you are thorough, they'll even formulate tests to see, all right, are you really going to do what is righteously supposed to be done? And they'll even throw some things at you to see what you're going to do, to see if if you're going to pass, or if you're going to do the right things, because they can do stuff. They can give you things to enhance your awareness, to go to, as some people would say, the word transcend, even to a higher degree. Let me ask you, Wally, have you ever spoke to your passed over loved ones?
Oh yeah, in depth, especially when I was a child. Oh, I did. I spent 1 year, over 1 year, every day going to the graveyard in an ancestral ritual. Every day, yeah, every day for over a year, and that gave me a perspective that I don't know most people can deal with that perspective. You know, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of things changed in me after doing that. After that year, I was
Mm-hmm.
different. Yeah, I'd say so. I was different in a manner of speaking. I was the same body and all that stuff, but my concerns and understandings were different. I used to ask my ancestors questions like, "Why did y'all have me?" If I knew I was going to put somebody into a bad situation by their birth, just by their birth, I wouldn't have no children. And I heard back from them because I guess that's part of how I got to be, to hear things and to see things. Because you could do that too. I should point that out to you. You're moving along this thing. It's called the Nagual. And I told you about some book called the Teachings of Don Juan. It's called the book. The
Mm-hmm.
Teachings of Don Juan. Did you check it out or anything? I gave it to you before, I think. The Teachings of Don Juan, a Yaqui Indian. Aqui. Yaqui. I think that's how it's spelled. Yaqui. Yaqui. Or Yaqui, a Yaqui Indian. But it's a series of books, and they have dreaming, teach you how to go through all the dreaming. And the condition that we're talking about is called the Nagual in the
Mm-hmm.
book. It refers to it as the Nagual, and which is like a shaman in a way. And we reach the shaman area of the Nagual. That's that area that we've been talking about without physicality. If you read any of the book, I suggest you read all at least 5 or 10 of the doggone series. They're like movies. They're like movies. They continue right through. You can just read right through them. They're easy reading in that sense. There's no complications in it. But and then you can you being where you are, especially now, you will recognize yourself in the stories and your movement through it, and you be like, yeah, that's the part I could use that, because you start recognizing yourself that you traverse those areas, and then you see how to better move through them. Like you were
Yeah.
saying, somebody was saying about a manual. There are manuals.
Oh, yeah. So what was that, Don Juan?
Don Juan, the teachings of Don Juan.
Teachers. Okay.
Because there was another Don Juan. That's why I didn't read it until damn. I was almost I was an adult before I read it. My brothers had given it to me while I was still a teenager or something, a young teenager, about 13, 14. They gave me all because they were reading it, right? They're older than me a lot. So they
Yeah.
were reading it, the teachings of Don Juan, and they told me I should read it. I didn't read it, okay? They told me the same about Hermes Trismegistus. I should read it, and I didn't because I ain't want to know no Greek shit. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
I learned it later as an adult, but they had already told me what to do. That's what I'm saying. We're being told all the time what to do, but we don't realize we're permanently, I mean, eternally blessed. I have been eternally blessed. I talk to people who are my elders, and they be like, we always wonder why you always seem blessed. Not with money, but the joy of life.
Yeah.
This is the blessing. Money and stuff, that's that, whatever that is, that's okay. But the joy of life, don't let them take the joy of life from you for no reason. Don't ever let that go. We have been blessed eternally. Most of the time, we think something is going against us when actually it's going to help us. We have to allow that to go through so that we can receive the other end. That's what I'm saying about one plus one don't always equal two.
Mm. No, I understand that, and while I read the Emil tablets, because this
Uh-huh.
this Thoth dude is a very interesting uh concept or individual here, that came into different periods of life. Came as Tahuti
Uh-huh.
in the Egyptians. He came as Hermes, as you said, Trismegistus, to the Greeks, and
This is
this
what I'm saying now
this
about.
concept,
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
right?
Mhm. Yeah, I see. Let me
Yeah,
mute up.
this concept is is talking is talking about self. Being able to, as he says, as Thorpe says, go into the wall. What's that? The Amenities, and seeing the gods, down there. Going down, and then being able to come back up to transcend. To come to the higher realms of these interdimensional cosmic beings. And as I'm reading this, and he also mentions uh two children. He goes, there are the children of the light, and they're children of the night. But he also mentions that, with these two children, that there's this dark brotherhood that's basically putting the children of the light and the children of the night against one another. And he makes that very clear, and also making it clear about, like, who we are, the self. And so I resonate with Thoth extremely, extremely, because the wisdom there is like this conversation we're having. And I land right there, Wally, 'cause I can talk forever. My check, Wally, you still there?
I'm just talking with the mute on. I
Yeah,
have
there you
I
go.
have I have realized that I needed to translate those Egyptian texts myself, the glyphs and all that stuff. I translate them myself. I learned that from reading Budge. You know, Budge was the one that did the Book of the Dead or something like that. The original translator of that book in the English form. You know who I'm talking about?
No, but I got to read that book next. That's the next thing I said to myself I was going to read.
Oh, well, if you do, when you read it, please read the forward because I read books from cover to cover. I want to know the copyright date and the forward because the forward will tell you what the person is thinking before they wrote the book, before you read the book, which is what Budge did in the forward of the book. He said he's a Christian, and anything that he writes in this book is going to be from a Christian perspective. And therefore, all the interpretations, all of this and that, will be based on Christianity and me interpreting that for my Christian audience. And so you'll see some stuff about the devil, evil, and all that kind of stuff. That's because that's in Christian lore. That's Christian concepts. But those concepts don't really exist in Egyptian thought.
Mm. Hmm. Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned the Egyptian. Um, I look at a lot of these. I've been looking at a lot of these glyphs lately. Like I even, one of the, for the first time in my whole entire life, I remember from, I'm probably 48, 49, somewhere there. I
Okay.
remember in my 30s, I was looking at the Newton Gab glyph. And, and I've seen different versions, of it. Some people, how it's drawn out.
That's
And
right.
for the first time, I this is where I am a flat earther. Okay,
Oh,
right when when this topic got put on my table, I started to do the homework a little bit, to break down whatever NASA was saying. And I came to a point, Wale, where I was 55% round, 45% flat. And then I said, that's it. I'm going to go. I said, all right, I'm just going to look at this glyph here, this cosmology here of Newton Gap. And I said to this glyph for the first time ever, I said, all right, look, I need a final, I said, I need a deciding factor. I need to, for you, when I look at this glyph, I need to let me know what is going on. Is it flat or is it round? And blah, 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 blah. For the first time in my whole entire life, Wale, I've never had a picture speak to me.
I
Like
knew
it.
that's where you were headed. Wow,
Yeah,
that's beautiful. I'm waiting on it because I don't want to kick it. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah, yeah. And it wigged me. It didn't wig me out. It just said, it was like, it just said, I'm staring at it. I said, okay, I need a deciding factor. And then I'm staring and I'm staring. And then it said, um, look at my ankle. And then I looked at the ankle and I was like, okay. And then it said, look at my elbow. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I went, oh, you're laying down on a flat plane and the ankle and the elbow is at the same level. And I was like, and that was my, deciding factor. I was like, wow, it is flat. But that was the first experience of having a picture or a glyph actually speak to me. I said, wow, because I was
First time
asking
you heard.
also. So I thought that was fascinating. So now looking into, did you know that Newton Gap picture, that cosmology, that they only show a third? That's a third of that picture where you see Gab laying down, and then you see Newt covering Gab, but that's a third of it. there is two more thirds attached to that glyph, which is
Uh-huh.
fascinating. It is mind blowing when you see the whole glyph.
Do you
When you
have that? Can you share that on your screen? Do you
let
have
me see.
some way that you could put it up?
Yeah,
Because
let me
I'm,
see. Let
I'm
me see.
remembering the half, the third, and that's what I'm saying. We have to look at these things ourselves to see what really is really going on. Because they'll translate something out of the box and tell you anything.
That's facts.
But I was going to say that just in case I don't get back to it, that you are prepared for this thing. You'll find it in the Don Juan books. I forget where you find it at in the books because about 10 of the books taking you through the shamanship. They were teaching how to be a shaman under that particular culture of shamanism. But it works in every culture the same way. They saw the Nagual, they just use different names, how to get there and stuff like that. It's all the same. Because I use some of it myself to elevate myself on up from where I encountered it to where I got on up to the rest of the stuff that I encountered later. So it can be used as a help or like a guide, a tour, not a manual, but a guide to get through some of those areas like dreaming, power, what is it? All kind of stuff in those books, man. Wow, it's a lot of stuff in there. If you want, we can talk about it another time, but it's a lot of stuff in them books, man. And then, so I was saying though, where you can remote, you've heard of people turning into jaguars or lions, people turning into this animal or that animal. You recognize what I'm talking about? You've heard of that sort of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, you're
yeah,
saying? Okay,
yes,
it's on the same level as what you was talking to the image, and when you were speaking to the were you speaking out loud to the image? I need to know that too. I don't know how you do your thing. Are
yeah.
you asking?
I did it both ways.
Okay.
I said mentally, and then I said okay, and then I spoke orally.
Uh huh.
Yeah,
Okay.
to the image as it was on my computer screen. And
Sure.
then and it's when people start doing that. See, it's when you start speaking orally, and I think that even though the ancestry realm deals with more telepathy. But and so when you're here, when you can speak out, like we're speaking right now, and you're alone, like that helps too.
Yes, I agree. So
So
I was saying, as far as the concept goes like this, that you can get, we are able to get into an animal's aura like that, and become that animal, or hear that animal. The animal can talk to it. They call it Doctor Doolittle syndrome. But
mm,
I talk to lizards around here. I talk to birds. I talk to all of them. I talk to trees, man. You know, trees are electrical. Are you
yeah,
familiar with that concept? Trees are electrical.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, just making sure we are all on this because I'm talking. This whole thing is science and how to
yeah,
get to talk to these different things and deal with them. Even the trees. There's a certain amount of translation that has to go on. You know what I mean? That's why I be saying that language, my ancestors, is truth, not no particular linga, but truth. As long as you're speaking truth, we can. It don't matter what language you're speaking, it'll work. But if you got, oh, I speak French, I speak German, who cares? Or do you speak truth? Is the important part of it. All of that. So anyway, so I mean, all the way to the point that what we're talking about now is experiential truth. You have to experience it or not. You can't prove it to people. It is or it isn't in their perception. You point at an elephant or you point at anything in the sky, whatever, and you say, "Do you see that?" And they say, "No, they don't see it. Ain't nothing there." Then that's their perception. Some people are colorblind. That's just a fact. Some people are colorblind. You say you see the red tree, they don't see a red tree. And that's just how it goes.
Yeah. And Wale, I'm at a point where, just like you said, right, to speak truth, right? So I'm gonna use that throat chakra, right, at all times. I may play around and do jokes and say things that are far way out, but when we're having real serious conversations about things, truth and truth only out of my throat. When I think, right, truth and truth only, like this is the only thing that I want. Now through that, the when I go to sleep at night or these meditation periods, this is what the truth I'm experiencing. Right. And it's funny how that and honestly, I'm not even trying to tell people, what I know per se. Like I only want to speak to the like-minded right now, because it's a lot of energy spent to speak to people that aren't even having to taken like even one step into this absolute truth here. Like, and there's some people have this concept of they'll say, oh, just continue living your truth. Wait, hold on. Wait. I don't know if that is a wise thing. Living. Okay, so could that truth that you learned, is that truth or is that a lie? See, that's a dangerous thing. But the truth is, that's where I want to be. And so I could convey it down to people, in a simple fashion. Like I want to know what is. I don't want to know. I've had my school of thoughts, going through the religion, going through the Egyptians, or the Buddhist, and now coming through all of these walks of life, now linking now with self. And through this self, I'm experiencing, truth here. And that's to me, that's all that matters, is that I experience and know the truth. I can't worry about what anybody else is experiencing or what they think that they're experiencing. I want to know the truth about all things. Like I've been asking for that for a very long time. And the road is this is the road that's, when you want something, life will change and formulate around you, to get that what you asked for. So
This
that's
is
where I
mine.
am.
When you say Buddhism, you're talking about Namyoho Renge-kyo?
Yeah, the whole well in Buddhism, the one thing that I like about it, they actually speak about, okay, this enlightenment. Like this is the one thing I like about Buddhism, is that, to reach this state of enlightenment, like I said, the processes as they break it down, I think that I understand what they mean. I mean, I think some people don't have to suffer in order to reach this enlightenment, but sometimes in certain cases, depending on the individual, it's necessary.
Mhm.
It's necessary. Like for me, it was extremely necessary for me to experience having my father taken away from me. Like I needed to suffer. I needed to feel that pain. And then once I felt that pain, uh I guess having now seeing them, you know, in my dream states now, that they're very frequent, in visiting, which I'm extremely grateful for, while I extremely grateful that it made me rise up. Like things having everything stripped away from me,
And when I say stripped, Wale, I'm talking about I was stripped all the way down. And now, since I was stripped all the way down, it seems like, okay, so now that my ancestor says, okay, we stripped you down. All right, now we can raise you back up. Now you finally get what life is about, what you must do, and da 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 da. So that's the only thing I like about Buddhism, and I land there.
You say whatism?
Like Buddhism?
Are you saying Buddha or voodoo?
No, Buddha, the Buddha.
Because okay, so you read the sutra that goes with the Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. Forget the name of the sutra they use, but you read
No,
that
no,
sutra.
I just no,
Oh,
I
you
just
didn't.
read, I just read like the couple of pages of what Buddha had to experience in order to reach enlightenment.
Oh, oh, well, you did. You seem to have read the pages where he was saying that there's two roads: the low road and the high road. You can take. You don't have to suffer. Everyone don't have to suffer. Some people take the high road because they can, and others have to take the low road, the suffering, because they need it. But when you made that reference, I was wondering how deep you had gotten into the Buddhism or the
Hmm.
study of Buddha and the sutras that he wrote. And I was going to recommend one that they don't recommend in the Nam-myoho Renge-kyo. They recommend a book,
Uh
but
huh.
they recommend part two, and they don't even speak about part one. They don't even bring it up. So when I was recommended to read part two, like I
Hmm.
do, I read from the cover to cover. I read the forward of part two, and the forward of part two referred to part one. And I said, well, why y'all never refer to part one? Most of the Buddhists said they didn't even know there was a part one.
Wow.
And so I got the book called The Innumerable Meanings, which is part one.
Hmm.
Innumerable Meanings. If you when you read innumerable meanings, you will understand plenum
Hmm.
under the concept of under the sutra called innumerable meanings. I think you can download that off of Google. It's not very long. It's a short sutra. I think yes, it's at the beginning of the full sutra. The Lotus Sutra, that's the one they be talking about. The Lotus Sutra.
And it's
Okay, in the
called
Lotus Sutra, huh?
numeral meanings. You said?
Innumerable meanings.
Oh, okay.
Meanings. Innumerable
Hmm.
meanings. I got it in a book called The Threefold Lotus Sutra. By I'm saying by threefold, they include part one. Most renditions of the Lotus Sutra start at part two
Mm.
and
Hmm.
includes part three. But the threefold Lotus Sutra has part one in it. And that part one is a very short sutra. All the sutras are very short, actually. But the threefold sutra was so short, Buddha did the sutra. And right after he finished the sutra, they say that sutra, it's like a speech. Each sutra is a speech, actually. So what he did when he finished that speech, it said 10,000, all the all the arhats and the shaman, the people who knew this business that were understood, Buddha, and not the laymen, but the ones that were high up in Buddhism. He
Hmm.
said as soon as he finished that sutra, they all got up and left.
Hmm.
He said 10,000 got up and left because reading the rest of the threefold Lotus Sutra, come to find out that Buddha said, because they were asking Buddha, why did they leave and stuff when they left? And Buddha said, because they got it. Y'all ain't get it, so I'm still here for y'all. But they
Hmm.
got it. So,
Hmm.
in innumerable meanings, when you're prepared for that, and from what you told me, you've been through enough of this stuff to be ready for innumerable meaning. Read that. You can read the rest of the Lotus Sutra if you care to, but read innumerable meanings. It will ignite, put certain, it is said, certain concepts in there you have not inculcated in your brain yet, but it will make synapses, roads to this information in your brain. Your brain is, see, certain parts of your brain that are very rarely used. They say we use about 10% of our brain, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so why? Because we're not using all them synaptic space that exists there, because we're not coming with all the new information that can use the rest of the brain. So when you start adding this information, the brain will make waves way for it. It'll make highways to get to it. The more you use it, it'll make the highway bigger and wider so you can get there quicker, all that kind of stuff. And it's called neural pathways, right? And it's all in the neural system. The synapses happen in the neural system. The neural system is where all this electrical activity is occurring. And all of this information and everything is electrically being transmitted electrically, like a computer transmits O's and ones. You get what I'm saying? Ons and off. That's what it is. It's electrical transmission. He's on or it's off. And
Yes.
then you got a set of them. They call it the baud system, 60, they move them in 60. You know about that kind of stuff, right? It's just a language of the computer,
Yeah.
how it works. So then the brain works very similarly, because the computer was built on the concept of how the brain works. Not the other way around. The brain don't work like the computer. The computer works like the brain as
Yeah.
best it can.
Yeah. And let me ask you, Wale, how
Okay.
do you feel about, these witches and warlocks and voodoo and all of this?
Okay, two different things. Witches and warlocks are children of people of Wicca. That's a cultural aspect called Wicca. Wicca is how it's mostly spelled. Wiccans are males and females. The males are called warlocks, and the females are called witches. They are cultural people. And I actually studied with a witch for about 3 or 4 months. She was teaching me their how they do business. I mean, how their culture is set up.
Hmm.
And so that was I think I was in California with that, because there's a lot of witches in California,
Tons.
warlocks too.
Yeah, tons.
But voodoo is different. Voodoo has nothing to do with witches and warlocks. As a matter of fact, in voodoo, witches are exposed. What it mean to be kicked out, expelled.
Yeah.
Nobody, witches are not, a proud society, but voodoo itself is, yes. But witches and voodoo are not the same. And I know people kind of get that because they go by this way of what called a religion, voodoo as a religion. Most people understand voodoo as a religion, mostly from television and movies and stuff like that. But that's their understanding, and that's what they think it is. But it really includes some of that stuff, but that's not what it is. What it is a scientific method of dealing with nature. Most people don't realize that or know the depths of science. Like I was talking about platinum and stuff like that. All of that is all voodoo I've been talking about. All this stuff about the dream state and how to manipulate it and how to manipulate the manifestation. All that stuff is voodoo. That's how we say voodoo is a manifestation, a co-creation with with the creator. And that's what voodoo is. Now we can co-create with the creator by knowing the different forces of nature intricately. Like I was saying about the sun, they say the Egyptians worship the sun. No, they studied the sun. It's a force of nature, like the wind and the other stuff we study. We study these things to learn their characteristics and how best to apply their characteristics. Like now we got wind moving the thing and turning it around so we can get electricity, or the sun beaming down on these photo electrical systems so we can get solar electricity. And the water too, when it flows through, that was one of the first forms of electricity, was a river passing by, and you just build your little thing that turns around. I forget what they call it now. And it turns because of the water, and you take the strength of that and move it somewhere else and use it somewhere else. The strength of just the water moving, like you said about turbines and stuff. Just the
Yeah.
weight, the strength of that turbine turning makes electricity to the point where you can supply electricity to a whole town or a whole territory from the water moving, just the water moving. But then you
Yeah.
got to study it and learn how to do it. And then they said, I forget who, Carnegie or somebody, they said that did the public school system, told the public school system, we don't want smart people. We want people who will be on time, people who that's so the curricula was made for servants and slaves. We want them to be on time. We want them to work for us. We don't want them to be smart. They got to just know how to add 1 plus 1 and whatever the rest of that, and discourage all that other stuff about genius stuff. Just and if you do find a genius that's just a rare genius, captivate that genius, put him in one of our schools so we can say our school came up with it when we get rid of him. If he comes up with something at Stanford that's just like, out of sight, just woo, 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 well, we're going to get rid of him. We know that because they've been doing it. But they're going to take Stanford. This happened at Stanford. This Stanford came up with this. You get what I'm saying? They
Yeah.
claim it. You
Yeah.
had said earlier, they're going to claim jump everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm in the same boat, because you ever heard of I'm in the same boat with you, Wale. I don't look at voodoo as bad at all. I just look at it like this is a science. This is science behind something. And you said nature. That's perfect.
Oh, yeah,
That's
definitely. Nature.
it's absolutely perfect. Now people could use voodoo for nefarious purposes. Yeah, you could. I wouldn't advise that.
Right.
You have
There
you
you
the
go.
person that sorry.
I say, right, there you go. Because the laws of nature kick in.
Yeah, and
Continue.
oh, go ahead. Okay. It's because when it comes down to voodoo, or some people say voodoo, right? Doesn't matter to me. That there's only two cases that I could tell people that, hey, voodoo worked for the betterment of the people. One case is the where you are in Jamaica, right? The 20-year war. The Maroons and some Jamaicans versus the English and the Spaniards. And the leader of the Maroons, right there in the 1700s, the leader there was a voodoo practitioner named Nanny Granny. And so this war lasted for 20 years. And what ended up happening, that Nanny Granny, well, they surrendered, and the English and the Spaniards surrendered, and now divided up the land. So you can say that Nanny Granny, who used voodoo on her soldiers, and what, and she was asking for the spiritual warriors to encompass her soldiers, and after 20 years, I guess they won. They made the English surrender. And then the other case I have is Haiti, the French Revolutionary War, where the French, got defeated, and the French wanted to know how they lost this war. So they sent the French scientists over to Haiti to figure it all out. And then the scientists returned back to France, and the guys asked him, okay, so what did you come up with? Why did we lose this war against Haiti? And the scientist says, oh, because of voodoo. This is why we lost. So it was like, wow. So okay, I have two cases here where voodoo was, basically used, and with the Haitians, it helped them defeat the French. And I thought that was those are my only two cases, but that's my standpoint with voodoo.
I agree with both of those examples. Uh, you got stories about them, but I agree with both of those examples that you use, and I think both of them are material, even though you know they're people try to dismiss all of that. And in also in the Americas, those since we talking about landmass, there were people like I don't know if it was Denmark Vesey or the other guy, Nat Turner. Them kind of got names. One of them guys was a spiritualist too. Uh, he was on a spiritualist journey. You know
Mm,
what I mean? He was walking in that spiritualist world. He was getting dreams and stuff like that, telling him what, leading him along. So a lot of times we are told that to attribute things to certain entities when that's all claim jumping. You're just giving that credit to the wrong entity, and a lot of times that entity is our ancestors, and we give that credit to what's called a god. But it's over 4,000 gods that people deal with on a daily basis on this planet every day. Over 4,000 gods.
yeah.
So which one? That's why I say we use the term creator, and the creator is there's no. And there's another book. Did I tell you about it? The Bhagavad Gita. Have you read the Gita?
No, that's Savan Bomar was he's really into that. He read
Uh,
that's a guy that I listened to for
uh,
very, very when I say on another level, Savan Bomar is on
I don't.
oh, you'll love this brother because he speaks that he can speak scientifical, he can speak engineering. He can speak speech spiritual to you. He can speak the language, like where languages come from, and
Uh-huh.
like I've never like he's been on this spiritual path
Mm-hmm.
for a very long time. I would say not very long. I would say about I give him 16 years on it, and by
16.
far, yeah,
Oh,
16
16.
years on this spiritual path, right? And
Wow.
what he's been able to do, very powerful, brother. And when I
Okay.
say powerful, Wale, like
Mm-hmm.
you want to talk about uh creating, bringing stuff from ancestry world and bringing it down and incorporating it, like he has this inventor. He's the solution type of person,
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, man. That's good.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed, with people that are on like when you mention the spiritual path, right? The ones that do this, it's within them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it does come. I don't know if I would say cost.
I
I
was
wouldn't
thinking.
say,
I was thinking price, but yeah, I'm hearing you.
you know, where when you raise in vibrations, you're you're really you're really knowing thyself. Someone doesn't like that, or some things don't like that. And
I refer to it as a certain amount of exposure. Once you know
yeah,
a thing, once you know of a thing, that thing knows of you.
yeah,
Yeah, because that's how that thing works. So now that's a certain amount of exposure. As long as you're ignorant, you got a chance of it not knowing you, or even recognizing you because you're not recognizing it. But once you start recognizing these things, they will recognize you. Yes,
yeah,
you you're standing around and you see a ghost and you're looking at it and you staring at it. The ghost look at you. It sees you looking at it. You have
yeah,
exposure. Everybody else
yeah,
going by willy nilly, they don't see nothing, and the ghosts see that they don't see nothing. But when you see the ghost and the ghost see that you see it, oh, that's exposure.
Yeah,
So that's what you.
yeah,
I
yeah,
see that kind of what you're talking about is,
yeah.
or you.
Look, it's
Oh,
part of the same cloth, but yes, it's the
yeah.
same thing. It's and when someone goes down this road, the trust in self has to come into play. Yeah, you got to trust yourself that what you're seeing is what you're seeing. This isn't your imagination here. This isn't You're not hallucinating. This is what you're seeing. Right? And don't deny what you're seeing. And then it also comes with, like you said, the exposure that your, let's just say, the light within starts to shine brighter. And with that shining of brightness, as you said, your electromagnetism now, you people are drawn, or things that you can't see are drawn to you because you have your light is on. And so you have to go through that. And then once you able to conquer that, because a lot of people, I would say, just for argument's sake, right? For a lot of targeted individuals, after you pass phase one, which is the external, everything is getting weird out here. Certain things are happening, right? And you're not necessarily reacting to them, and all of this stuff is going on, right? And
Okay.
you're able to defeat that. You can achieve. You're still striving and making it, even though that the external world is going against you. So now you go into phase two, and phase two is now the internal battle. To where I like to call it. Well, it's spiritual warfare. You have the physical side of spiritual, and then you have the spiritual side. The you have the external, and then you have the internal spiritual warfare. And when you pass that, when you're able to pass that, because a lot of people don't live to tell the tale when they go into phase two of the spiritual warfare. This is why people like Savan Bomar, for an example, is a very powerful individual, physically and spiritually, because he's past phase two. And
I,
then
I,
and
I don't
oh,
want you
and
to
I, and
get
I
lost
I'll end right
in,
here, Wale. Right, like, and my example of someone that didn't pass phase two, who was a solid researcher, truth teller, true speaker, was the white guy David Wilcox, where he all of a
no.
sudden wanted to commit. He unalived himself. Like,
Well,
huh? Like,
I don't know him either.
oh,
I don't even know.
he's one of the truth tellers. And look, and he was talking about certain topics and all that, but he was leading down to now to self. He started
Okay.
to understand that the self was now, with all of the studying he's been doing, and probably all the wrong studying he's been doing, he realized self. And now he came into phase two of the warfare, which is the internal one, right? And so, where you're going to have to deal with spells, witchcraft, and all of this. You're gonna have to deal with this, right? Even the succubus and the succubus spirits and all of this. All of this you're gonna be now exposed, because it's internal to the unseen world. And so with David Wilcox, right, mysteriously, right, he offed himself off. And some people don't know what just happened. Well, I know exactly what happened. He was in phase two of his journey, right? In that phase two, the establishment doesn't like this at all, Wale. Listen, they're trying their damnedest to make sure that no one wakes up in totality. No one.
You
And
say
and
your man was into this for 16 years, right?
oh yeah, Savan
Yeah.
Bomar. That's the guy. That's the guy.
I don't want you to get lost in Beaumont, whatever his name is, and ignore the Bhagavad Gita. You can read the Bhagavad Gita in less than 2 hours. It's a very small book,
Mm.
as far as that is concerned. But you should read the Bhagavad Gita in its totality, not a reduced version or a cartoon version, because you can get got cartoons of it on YouTube. Because the Bhagavad Gita is well known in India. All the children know it.
Yeah.
You
Savan knows
understand
it
what I'm
too.
saying?
Savan
Huh?
knows it too. Savan knows this
Yeah,
too.
I'm just saying all the children of India know it because that's their culture. They know it from when they were 1, 2, 3 years old. You understand what I'm saying? When I
Yeah.
was 10 years old, which was a while ago, more than much more, it was a lot more than you are even alive. My brother gave me the Gita, the Bhagavad Gita, when I was a child. My brother gave it to me then, and that was long before you were even born. That's how long I've been looking at this stuff. So I'm offering you, from what I'm hearing from you and your stage of development, that you would benefit from the 2 or 3 reference, because they are reference books that I'm referring to you to read them. And I'm trying to give you the easy ones, the more difficult ones, the ones that I think you can get to maybe in 10 years yet, like the one called the Master Key. I told you about the Master Key, yes? Oh, you gone? Okay, I can dig it. Anyway, T Riggs, are you still on? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Hold on. Hold on.
Okay, say
Yeah. I'm sorry.
something.
I'm still here. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm still here.
I
But
was
yeah,
just asking
yeah.
about the book.
I would say this because there was this story I heard that with the Indian people in India, that they're that they would practice so much in meditating and going off into the different worlds. They treated it like a video game in a way, like that was their form of fun.
I can dig it. I can dig it. I'm just saying though, with the things you got, do look into the Gita, because the Gita explains a lot about what's happening right here and a lot of
Mm.
other places. A guy showed me how. I mean, everything that's here. Okay, in the Gita, the Creator says, because the Creator is talking to a character in the book called Arjuna. Arjuna. So Arjuna asked him, well, what, the Creator, what about the devil? What about your enemy, the devil? And the Creator laughed. And Arjuna said, wait a minute, why are you laughing? And the Creator said, because I have no enemy. Where would it come from? I created everything that's in creation. There is nothing outside of me. That was the first time I understood omnipotence and omnipresence. As they use those words in the Bible, because they got these plagiarisms from different places, but
Mm.
they expose that concept in that book, and it's exposed to people. And that's why I say some people find certain things within the book that they can resonate with, and certain other parts they don't, because the book we know has different, cultural leanings mixed
Yeah.
together as though it's one. So some people lean to this particular cultural leaning and others to other, but that one's in there. And so the idea is that omnipresence and omnipotence is when you're talking about the creator, not God, the creator. Because the creator is the expression of the creator is creation.
Yeah.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because they
Yeah.
got many gods. They got over 4,000 gods. And the same people that I'm talking about, their religious pantheon, whatever you want to call it, has over 4,000 gods. So God ain't the one they talking about. They're talking about the creator now,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
And the creator laughed, talking about he got a enemy. Where would I get an enemy from? I created everything that's here. I have no enemy. And once I understood my immortality, I realized I have no enemy. Because I was saying that earlier, I have no enemy. Because I realized my immortality, and this body and stuff is an experience of the mortality. I mean, being in this mortal 3D dimension, we need these things like wearing a pressure suit. If you don't wear the pressure suit on Mars, you can't breathe the air. So you got to have that suit for that environment. You know what I'm saying? So that's why we need this thing here that's called the body. And the mind is that connection between the two. Because I say we are remote. We don't even exist here because we are non physical. So we cannot exist in the body. We cannot exist in anything because we're non physical as beings. Immortal beings are non-physical. So that's why I say even the creator, being that the creator itself is non-physical, the manifestation of the creator is creation. And we have the ability from however we get it to be co-creators. That's where manifestation comes in. We are able to create our own future. All of us are able to do that, but we didn't know we were able to do it, so we never tried. Like Superman, he never knew he could do fly or whatever, so he never even tried it. He just walked around like an everyday Joe until something happened that clicks and sent him into, oh, I could do this. Wait a minute, that that happens to a lot of people. When, like you say, they accident or they drown or whatever, something happens that shifts them out into the a bigger reality and shifts them out of that little closed in and confined social structure that most people are in. I call it mental slavery. The mind is in control. We don't want our minds to control us. Others can control our minds too easily for us to allow our mind to control us, because we know others can control our mind very easily, which means if we allow our minds to control us, that means others can control us very easily. That's what this whole thing about mental slavery is all about, being controlled by your mind.
Yeah. Yeah. I like to say that we're like this episode of the Book of Life, we're experiencing the mental portion of slavery. Like our ancestors went through the physical with a little bit of the mental, but this one is all mental here, where where a person you can be controlled from a distance and you don't even know it, or the person you can even lock yourself into your own prison
Mm.
and not even know it. And I like to say this is the second episode, not second. Is this the episode of the mental slavery? I wanted to ask you, Wally, that so far on your journey, have you ever met an interdimensional being?
Yeah.
Ah, you're tapped in.
Huh?
I said you're tapped in.
I don't know what that means.
Like
But
you're in
yeah.
tune.
Oh, okay.
Your awareness. You know you
You
know you
know
don't have.
what?
Uh-huh.
Okay. I'm just trying to understand what you were saying, but you seem excited.
Oh yeah. There's not too many people that have had the privilege of meeting a interdimensional, you know, being.
You know what's happening though?
Yeah.
People experience things and they attributed it to something else.
Like, what you mean?
Okay, you were saying one of us was saying something about a ghost. Let's say a ghost. They'll see the ghost, but they'll attribute it to something else, like lasagna. I think I mentioned last time
Yeah,
about
yeah,
the
yeah,
trip.
yeah,
They
yeah.
would attribute it to attribute it to something else and dismiss it.
Yeah,
See what I
yeah,
mean? Once you take it first and eat on it for a while, don't just attribute it to anything for a moment at least. Let it be what it is. Most people can't dismiss it if they do that. So they have to quickly identify it, quickly kick it away so it don't sink in. And then if you say the next day or something, remember that? They'd be like, oh, yeah, I was just tripping. They want to dismiss it right away because they don't want to be the one that has to admit these things. I've been in a circle where people see things and then they say they didn't see it, and I was right there with them. And they'll say to me, knowing we both saw it, they didn't see it. They'll say they didn't see it. We both had the same reaction to seeing it. And then when I try to talk to them about it, I ain't see nothing. I don't know what you're talking about. They want to dismiss that.
yeah. Mine came in a form of a lucid dream. Like I was dreaming, like I was aware that I was dreaming, and you know, this being came, and you know, I won't go into details, but uh being telepathic in that, it's a go. You know,
It's
and
a
I
go.
understand.
You say it's a go?
Yeah, it's a go. Like it's a go. It's a
Okay.
go, meaning that, you know, when you have when you have this interaction, right? Even if people are aware when they're dreaming, like you're not using your mouth when you're dreaming. It's a lot of them are. It's this telepathic communication.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you 100.
You know, and I think that, you know, our ancestors before were fully more so than way more so than we are, were were in communication with different beings that were guiding them, advising them, like this is what this is and this is what this is. You know, and once you get that information, you can now, you know, formulate what was said to you here.
Oh. What do you mean formulate what was said to you here?
Like for an example, okay, so let's just say like some new technology, you know, could be introduced to the world,
Okay.
right? So a technology that has never really been seen before here. Now the being could now give you everything that you need to create this new tech. Do you understand what I'm saying? So since you're scientific, right? So someone would come to you and speak to you in your lucid dream state, right? And would say, okay, look, I'm going to give you I'm going to show you how to make this. Here are the parts. Here are the pieces. This is what you need. Blah 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 blah. Then you wake up.
Now, since that it was so intense that you'll never forget what was said to you, and then now you start formulating, right? You start putting together what the person said to you, and then now you have bought new tech or something new here.
That also you're going to Terrence Howard me. You know that's what Terrence. That's the Terrence.
Terrence Howard? No, not really. It's not really. It's,
But that's the Terrence Howard story verbatim. That
well,
he
see,
got.
and look, and that's the crazy thing. I don't know, like especially with Terrence. I mean, to each his own. There's something about him that I'm not too familiar with, but I
Okay.
know that he's the thing to speak at Oxford as he did. We're talking. He's not dumb.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and his concept of that flower of life as he was trying to break down.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if the world was ready for that yet,
That's right.
and he did it anyway. Like I don't
That's
think the
right.
world is ready for some of the things that I'm going to be bringing to the table. So I'm going to be very selective, of what I mention to people. Like I'll speak to you about it on this platform and do it live. I don't mind speaking to you, but for the world here, I'm going to be very selective on on what I'm going to be talking about because a lot of us aren't ready for this type of conversation we're having today.
Of course not. Of course not.
So it's almost like we got to spoon feed people, and then when you spoon feed them, they have to be ready for this. They have to accept this, and if you don't accept it, that's fine. It doesn't bother me at all. You know, it's you'll probably have to come back and repeat it until you get it. I mean, that's how I look at it.
Well, me being familiar with the concept of synchronicity, are you familiar with that concept, synchronicity?
Yeah, and okay. So when you say synchronicities, um, are you talking about, let's say, synchronicities can come in form of numbers?
Mhm. Well, mine is from sequence. The root that I'm using is from sequence. When I
All right,
think in
explain
terms
it
of
again.
synchronicity, like you piece the word together, Kabbalah, I'm going to put it together. Sequence, the first part of the word that's come out of synchronicity is sequence. Crow is from
Hmm.
crow meaning time. You understand it,
Hmm.
Chrome from Chrome. You maybe you know Chrome, the Greek god of time. The
Yeah.
the crow part is from time. So synchronicity is where the time. What was the first part of it? I was doing something else and talking at the same time. Man. Wow. Yeah, the sequence and time
Hmm.
of something. That's synchronicity. So now, and synchronicity, what the whole thing is about bringing. Let's say you want to meet the woman of your dreams or something, right?
Hmm.
Y'all got to meet somewhere. That's synchronicity in time and space, sequence of things. Because time is measuring the sequence of movements, right? So
Hmm.
things have to move in order to get you at a place and the person of your dreams and stuff at the same place. Everything got to move to accommodate that. The entire planum has to move in such a way to accommodate that. What I mean by planum is this: in every there is no void, there is no empty space between you and the cup. It's full of things. Then we refer to those things as planum. stuff you ignore, but it's still there.
Yeah.
And it has to move. You can call it wind shear. Like if you move your hand, you'll see something else move. Why? Because you have moved the platinum. And when you move your hand like this and something light, like a napkin or something, move as a result of you moving the platinum.
Mhm.
Are you following me?
Yeah.
Because you push the platinum and moving your hand out of the place it was, at, and you moved it and it hit the doggone the napkin in a sense of wind. You see it as a sense of wind, yeah. But
Hmm.
it was there and you moved it in that manner. You move it slow or fast, you're still moving it. So in order for you to move your hand from here to there, you got to move through platinum. It's almost like water. Imagine yourself underwater. Everything, every movement you make is going to be through the water, right? But
Hmm.
platinum is not as dense as water. Are you up on what I'm saying now?
Yeah. Yeah. No,
It's
I get you. I get you.
it's the condition of our atmosphere, our atmosphere in this thing called creation.
Hmm.
Anyway, that's how I'm understanding it to be. And so in that platinum, everything is possible with us being co-creators. It's best that we understand what we're dealing with.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I hear a lot of people say, man, I've been praying for this a long time. I ain't got it yet. Yeah, they be praying. I hear people say, man, I've been trying to meditate on this for a long time. And yeah, you be meditating. And I hear people saying, I've been trying to manifest this and more manifest this for all that kind of stuff. They be like, well, you're doing it wrong. And I'd be like, no, you've been doing it all your life. If you realize you've been doing it all your life. So I tell people to go back in their own history, their own past, inside their own memories and realize where things come from because they come from your past, yourself when you were 3, yourself when you were 5, yourself when you were 7, 11 years old. The manifestations you are viewing now, a lot of that came from those ages. Those ages is where you started manifesting the things you see now.
Hmm.
A lot of people say, even at those ages, I'll be glad when I'm adult, I'm gonna do this and do that. You ever did that? As a
Hmm.
child, you ever thought to yourself, well, when I become an adult, I'm gonna do this and do that? Yeah, I know most people did.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the manifestation. I'm saying you're manifesting the whole time. We're constantly manifesting, but we have to go back and remember where the manifestation started, what thought pattern we were in to create it, and then we can shorten it up. It's like the muscle thing again, realizing you're doing it. Now, how did I do it though? Okay, the next time I do it, I'll study it even more, right? The next time I notice it or something like that, I'll study it even more till I know how I'm doing it. I can start predicting what I have to do to make it happen because that's all you have to do. This is strictly scientific. I mean, you could say it's spiritual. I believe this, I believe that. It don't matter. Do it for a while and see if it works.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what worked for me too while it was um I wrote like I guess they call it a visionary board.
Okay.
But I
Yeah.
just I wrote 5 things that I wanted.
Hmm.
You know, 5 things. And what I did, I wrote it on a piece of paper, and then I put this piece of paper of my 5 things on the my front door wall. So every time that I walked out, I would see these 5 things. It's almost like I was programming myself, to, okay, look, this is the 5 things that I want, and I'm going to see this every time that I leave this house. And then I'm going to continue this walk out here of life. But those 5 things are lingering in my mind. And I was able to achieve all 5 of those things. And the last one I remember because I wrote this down in 2005. And the last one, I think it was number 4. Uh, I had to wait. until 2018 or 19 for that goal to be accomplished. And long story short, and how that goal got accomplished, I had to wait for my friend's son to grow up and to be a high school football player and achieve what I wrote down in to get what I wrote down in '05. So with some of our manifestations or goals, it does take time.
I'm sure a lot more had to happen than this, just the reference to this child you're talking about. A lot more things had to happen during that period of time in order to arrange you and your desire to be in the same place accessible to you takes an arrangement of magnificence. That's why I respect the creator, because that's a big job, work that the creator does. But all them stars and stuff, like you say, you look up at all the stars, moons, all that stuff, celestial bodies,
Yeah.
and they move in synchronicity. What I mean is they move according to their own rhythm, yet they don't interrupt each other. It's synchronicity, like a dance, like a dancing they used to do them swimmers used to dance in the water. You ever seen that kind of thing? Where maybe 20 or 30 swimmers would be dancing in the water through
Yeah.
their swimming and what they do, making designs and stuff. That's happening in this in the celestial bodies are carrying out all of that stuff, and we're watching from here. And the same creator that made this fruit today and the one that I'll pick tomorrow, and you know what I mean, and sprout the stuff. All it That's all that work. I open an orange or a banana and I see the work in that, just in the construction of that thing. And then the fact that it's constantly repeating its own history over and over. I can count on the fact I take a seed, put it in the ground, it'll grow a tree, and it'll grow a fruit, and the fruit got a seed, and I can put it in the ground. It's constantly repeating its own history.
Mm, mm,
And I welcome that, because I understand that's what we all do. We just have to, history is a story about the past and what we adhere to and what we repeat all the time. And if we got a mixed up story or a false story, we're going to be repeating a false concept to our future. And we're going to get what we're relating.
mm,
Whatever
mm.
we be relating, that's what we're going to get. That's why a lot of, I mean, you could say this, but people would say, oh, we're from kings and queens. The idea was not to just say that, but to behave as though that were true.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Once you're
Right.
behaved, now you're doing, so I call it sympathetic magic. They used to say, fake it until you make it. You heard of that before?
Yeah.
That's sympathetic magic. I refer to that as sympathetic magic. Fake it till you make it. That means you do a thing until you become that thing.
Yeah.
That's just through sympathetic magic. You get in so deep, like these guys be doing that thing about, I think it's called character acting or something like that. I forget the name of it. But where they get into being the act, I mean being the character. They want to be the character. They're studying so hard so they can infuse themselves up into that character and be the character. You understand what I mean? I forget how they refer to it. But that's the kind of attitude in order to become what, fake it till you make it, and it's sympathetic magic. Sympathetic magic is also used when you were talking to that diagram. I asked you to bring the whole thing, and you took off, but you didn't present it. I would
Oh
like
yeah.
to see that. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
but
Let me
I
check
don't
the
want to
email.
wait.
I couldn't find it correctly.
Oh, okay, it's cool. I don't want to wear you out, but I was just looking forward to seeing it. But the whole thing is that sympathetic magic too. That you heard a response. You heard a response that was translated into a language that you can understand. You see how dynamic that is? That's what I
Yeah.
be saying. When you want, they say children, because children just left the realm of the ancestors. They can learn 5 or 6 languages in their first 5 or 6 years. You know that?
Yeah, that's facts.
Because they so close to the ancestral realm. They can go in there and captivate all that stuff and organize. Once you're 25, 35, you addicted to whatever language you're doing. It's going to be difficult to get all of that kind of information to stick with you. Because you then learned it and got, whatever the rest of that story is. But what we're doing is allowing ourselves to go back into our childhood and come back up again, be risen. Go down into your childhood and raise yourself up this time from your childhood. I went to where I was born because I remembered back to before I was born, but I was aiming for to where I was born, right? As far as where I was picking a place to go, and that's where I went to, and I actually went to before I was born. And then we come out, okay. Once we're born, we have all of these things come with us. We have ideas, we have thoughts, we have desires. Not desires in the sense of we have ambitions. Let me put it that way. Not desires and I want, not that desire. Ambitions, I intend to do. That's an ambition. I intend. We have stuff we intend to do as soon as we are born. That already comes with us. So we are of that mind already, and we have propensities. You know what propensities are? These are these are things you naturally like and naturally don't like. Like some children are afraid of heights. That's their propensity. Other children are the heights don't bother them at all.
Mm.
Some children are afraid of darkness. Other children are, darkness don't bother them at all. That's I'm referring to those, and they may, they might get it from somewhere. Then a lot of people get it from scary movies, all that. But most babies and stuff, they'll let you know their propensities because they'll cry or make some kind of right? Because they
Mm.
already on
Mm.
that line. They don't want to be in no darkness. They don't want to be in this whatever the situation. They prefer a certain environment. That's called I refer to that as propensity. The same way, like some children are aggressive and some children are timid. Those are propensities. They mostly are born with those kind of propensities, and then they just carry it out in their life.
Yeah, I think that, as you was just saying, as you were saying, like people are scared of certain things, right?
Seem to be,
Children are
yeah.
scared of certain. I think that's this. This has this has to have like past life inclinations where it's like it's passed down to the new version somewhere, right? Because you
Maybe.
remember you know how like you were saying the tree concept and how the trees operate, right? Trees are energetic, and I saw the experiment where when they cut down a tree, and uproot the tree's energy now will come out of that tree and find another tree with its same energetic signature and link with that tree. Have you heard of that? Have you heard of that?
I'm not sure I follow this line that you're telling me. You say you uproot a tree,
Yeah.
and what happens?
The energy or spirit of that tree leaves and will link up with another tree that
Mhm.
has its same energetic signature.
I would say, first of all, uh, a tree takes a while to die when you uproot it. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah.
It might take a tree. Like I uprooted a tree one time. It took almost two weeks for it to die. I got some plants out here now. I can uproot them now, and they'll still be growing. I could take them off the ground when I uproot them, and they'll still be growing a month from now. The same uprooted plant. Don't ever have to go back down to the ground. It'll grow for at least a month. Right there, hanging. I hang my stuff in the basket to dry it out,
Mm.
and that's when I discovered. I said, "Damn, it's been hanging here for a month." Yeah. And the tree, I knocked it over and I uprooted it, and I was transporting it from one yard to the other and forgot to go and take care of it for 2 weeks, and it was still viable. I was able to just put it in the ground, water it and stuff like that, and bring it up into itself.
Mm.
So it takes a while for a thing to die. That's what I was saying about the ancestors. People got this thing about ancestors talking about soon as their uncle died, he's part of the ancestors. They don't understand this whole cosmology. That cosmology, it takes a while for you to die. You don't just die today and then you go. Even when if you've been to Jamaica before,
Yeah.
you're saying yes.
Yes.
Okay, so you've experienced something called jet lag.
Most definitely.
Uh-huh. Well, a similar thing happens when in death. I mean, uh, uh, this thing you're calling you refer to it like a wormhole because that's kind of what it was like when I went before my birth was in a wormhole like thing, and that's how I was being transported was in the wormhole. When they came and told me, they say, "Oh, okay, get your stuff. It's your time to go." And I said, "Go where?" They said, "Get your stuff, man. Let's go." But nobody spoke, and I got my
Right.
stuff, and I don't know what I got into because we didn't have no bodies and stuff. But I got my whatever it was, I got it. Whatever the concerns, and I may have been my intent just get your stuff.
Hmm.
Okay, I got my intent because it wasn't physical. And then they took me somewhere, and I remember the wormhole effect. We were going through that wormhole effect for just whatever amount of time, and then just when they we stopped or we paused or something of that nature. You know how you're going to get off deboard,
Hmm.
and they said have a good time, and then they took off and left me here, and that's when I was born. I mean, not born, but what's the name of that thing? Conceived,
Mm.
and
Mm.
became a embryo and all that kind of stuff. The rest of that stuff was the body growing and stuff like that after that, because I had to have a place to be when I got here, a suit suitable for the environment. That takes about 9 months to create it. Yeah, properly.
Right.
It's the average of 9 months to create the suit. The suit is automatically created by the mother's body, who is another suit that's recreating another suit. You get what I'm saying? These are all suits creating the thing called the body, man, is such a dynamic. And I'm not just talking about the human body, as people like to call it. I'm talking about anybody, a roach, a doggone bird, any body of life that's doing that kind of thing, not a tree, because trees got their own whole thing, which is another whole great, man, that's a great, awesome science. Inside of the peel of an orange, you peel the orange, first of all, and inside the orange, there are wedges. You're familiar with that, an orange wedge? There are wedges inside the orange, and they have a particular number inside the orange of wedges. Inside those wedges, they have a capsules in it that's full of juice, little teardrop shaped. You familiar with what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yeah. No. 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 Yeah. Because I'm already visualizing peeling the orange. Right.
And so them little things inside the wedge, each wedge has hundreds of little capsules of juice in them. And them capsules of juice inside the wedges are tear-shaped juice with little strings on them, shit telling you they're all connected and stuff like that. To
Yeah.
me, that is the most fabulous engineering whoever that they say, oh, I don't believe in the creator. I don't know what you believe in. I don't care. But that's some fabulous ass engineering. You know what I'm saying? To make that grow, and it all comes from the seed. You put the seed in the ground, but then they are electrical. It's like you're starting up your motor. That when you put the seed in the ground and water it, it's almost like you just put a battery in the car because the electricity flows through the water because the seed, the tree, all of that is electrical, just like we are electrical. All of our whole thing is electrical. That's why
Mm-hmm.
we be in a water sack, as they said in the womb, because that water sack acts as a conduit. Water is one of the best conduits, conductors of electricity. Yes. So I'm just saying that's how we do it. This is how we do it. Da, 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 da. This is how it's done. So this is fantastic. This is, as they say, on another level. This is science on a whole nother level. And to create it so that it recreates and comes forth every time like that. I got some banana trees out there in the bush, and they still growing by themselves. I didn't put them out there and water them and stuff, but they was growing by themselves. So they
Mm.
don't need me. Nature don't need us. That's what I keep saying. Nature don't need us. For what? Nature don't need us. We need nature. Nature don't need us. Other animals breathe out carbon monoxide, not only people. The nature don't need us. We need nature.
Hmm. Hmm.
We're creatures of, we're creatures, I say creatures. Creatures
Yeah.
meaning that we were created and we are co-creators with the creator to create. So that's why I say creatures.
Okay, I found this the glyph.
You brought it up. You
Yeah, let me
presented
see if
on.
I can all right, let me see if I can share.
Yeah, sure.
Let's see.
Now this the full
All
three-part
right, let me
thing,
see.
right?
How does this
Or
work?
the 1/3.
This is the full.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'll let you know when I see it, and I'll bring it up.
Let's see if I. Do you see that?
Yes, I see that. Bring that up.
Okay.
Then I'm gonna
Right.
check
So
to
if I
see how.
zoom in here, right? Let me see.
Hold,
Okay.
I'm getting to see
So
how that appears. Let
so
me see
this
how
is
it
the
appears.
you see this glyph on my screen, right, Wale?
I'm trying to make it bigger enough for me to see. Ah, dang. Oh, I
Oh,
see it.
okay. Okay. Let me see if I
Oh,
can make
I
it bigger
got
for
it.
you.
I got it on a big
I'm gonna make it bigger for
full.
you.
I'm asking it to be a full screen layout, right? I see you made it bigger, but I'm trying to figure out how to make this be a full screen layout so that I can see what you're talking about.
Oh, okay,
Uh,
maybe I should make it full screen on my end. Hold on, let's see if I can do it on my end. Let's see if I do this. How's that?
okay. I'm wondering why. I got you. I got me. I'm gonna remove you. I'm gonna remove. Yeah, I gotta add us back. The audio goes with me. But I'm full screen layout. I keep asking for the full screen layout, but I don't know if I'm getting it. No, I'm not. So it's hard for me to see whatever it is. I
Oh,
haven't
okay.
worked that part.
So you can't see what I got going. Okay, let me
Oh,
see.
okay. I just saw it for a moment there. Let's see
Okay,
if I can keep it going. Let's see. I
hold on. Let's
just
see if
saw
I
it for
can.
a moment. Okay. I see. So
You
you're
see it now?
saying the one laying down is the Earth, and which one is the one above?
Okay, okay, can you see my cursor here?
Okay, move it
You
a
see my
minute
mouse
so I can
cursor? Oh no.
move it around so I can know where it's at. I don't see it moving.
Do you
Move it
see this?
around
Do you
that,
see me moving my
that
cursor around? Oh no.
move it around within that red
Okay, okay,
orb.
don't worry about it.
Okay.
Okay, don't. Yeah, yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay, right? Because everyone who has seen this Newt and Gab picture, right? This is the third I'm talking about. You see how he's traveling around Newt in the boat. You know, there's stuff, and then there's Ra, and then in the middle here. But no one mentions what's on the side here on the left, with the head sticking out of this flower, and then you see this snake-like deity here, and then no one mentions, right? And since everyone doesn't see the whole picture, you know, this woman on the right sitting in front of this offering table.
You found this on a link, or this on your or is this on your what they call it, on your computer?
To tell the
Or you
truth,
found
to tell the truth, Wale, right? I'm gonna
okay.
be dead honest with you. I don't know how I got this image.
Oh, I thought. Oh, so it
I
is
can't
on
even
your.
tell you. I can't tell you where I got it from. I don't can't tell you how I got it, but I got it.
It's on your computer, is what I
Yeah, it's on my
heard you.
computer. It's somewhere I must have been fishing around, and it was or from the internet or something, right? Because
Yeah,
when I saw this, you know, automatically I said, okay, what does everything mean here? Like I
yes,
wanted to know what everything means,
yes.
and
Of course,
so,
that's what I suggest.
pardon?
I say, of course, that's what I suggest.
Yeah, and so with what's I really wanted to know, who is this lady on the right who is outside of our reality here, right?
Off
Outside.
screen, so to speak.
Yeah,
Off screen, so to speak.
yeah. It's kind of like who is this woman? You know,
Uh
even
huh.
I when I put this picture through, I put it through AI
Uh huh.
and tried to. Oh, there you go. Right, and tried to figure. You can see my cursor now, I guess, right? Like, who is this
Okay.
lady?
Uh huh.
Like, who is this lady right here?
Okay. And what did they tell you?
No, no, it gave me all wrong answers. No name popped up.
Oh, okay.
And I was going to you know, make a video and show this whole thing here to show everyone, like, look, this is the whole thing. Everyone, all you Egyptologists and Hotepers, you only gave me a third. You only gave me the middle part. You didn't talk about what happening on the left, which is the reincarnation episode here, right? The left is talking about the reincarnation. This is where you see the head sticking out of this flower. Like, you'll go through, I forgot this deity's name here with the snake and the legs here, but it's talking about reincarnation back to come back. Now on the right side, right? I wanted to know who this pharaoh is down at the bottom, and this is what they were saying. It was like a person, a pharaoh, or someone transitioning that would now come to the table. And you see all of these offerings here would come to the table, and now you get to see this lady. And I've always no, and no one knows who this lady is.
Okay. No one knows. Wow, that's
No one
deep.
knows.
I would have to study the diagram, man. I see a lot of stuff in it, and I would have to study it because I see a lot of stuff in it that I haven't heard any talk about. And from my just play, just looking at it with no preliminary thoughts, nobody telling me what it say before I look at it,
Yeah.
I see something a lot different than what you're reciting.
Hmm. Have you seen this? Have you seen this glyph before?
I've seen it only in passing and stuff like that. I never got, like I said, I didn't get deep into their stuff, but I was
Yeah.
just about to look at their stuff as I can to see what it all saying, because this is a pictogram, as you know well. It's telling a story. But
Yeah.
what is the story? Well, the story has to be done through interpretation. There's a concept of interpretation called understanding or comprehension. And even though a word or symbol may mean something in the language, in the interpretation of a text, it don't mean the same thing. It leads you in a different direction. Like I was talking with the guy about, no, I ain't gonna go through like this and like that. I just leave it where it's at. So when people say that this thing, like those birds, that bird means this, that bird means that, that's their interpretation. How do
Mm.
I know they know that? Who told them? And did they talk to any Egyptians? They say they did not. So all of this stuff is their interpretations, which lead to misinterpretation. And what I said about Budge that's what he said about himself. He said he's looking from a Judeo-Christian point of view, and that's how he's going to describe everything in the book that he's translating. And that's what he did. And now people have accepted those terminology. Oh, this God and that God. I don't see no gods. I'm looking at something different. As far as gods, maybe I'm looking at forces of nature and how they respond and react and deal with one another, in what cases that they are showing themselves. That's what I'm looking at, because I
Mm.
don't have the prejudice of listening to Budge and the rest of that noise. I never thought they were talking about gods. I think they're talking about forces to science. Egyptian was always science to me. It's just the interpretation of it. And people get mad when I say those are not gods. That's the forces of those in personifications of forces of nature.
Yeah.
And that once you take that into account, you could start figuring this stuff out easier. Because there's a force of nature that does this thing about leaning over this way, and the one that's laying down, and the one that's over there like that, and the people going around like this. This is all. That's just cellular. That's what they call that navigation by the stars.
Mm.
That sees people on boats going this way and going that way, right? And they
Yeah.
going by the stars, right? The stars
Yeah.
are up in the body above, right?
Yeah.
Represented, I mean, in the body above. Yeah, by using the stars, they go from here to there, from one land to another land, like a wormhole type of attitude. But anyway, that's what I'm looking at when I look at it. I don't see no undead and this and that, the rest of that story. I'm looking at how to travel by the stars. This is a glyph to tell you how to do that. They used to call it the secret science, travel by the stars. That's why they wanted to attack the Moors. They'd say the Moors knew the secret science. And the Moors say they had learned the secret science from, these people here, the Egyptians, whoever they were, the people that made this thing. And
Mm.
a lot of people like to say those people who went to Egypt were from America. They had figured out this thing and went there to distribute the information through that metropolis, right, to the rest of the world. And then you saw how the rest of the world behaved.
Mm-hmm.
They just wanted to sack the place, take the stuff, kill the people, get rid of. That's how they behave. So they sack Egypt. They did their regular behavior, man. There you go.
Yeah, they're still
It-
doing the same behavior also, today, by kind of desecrating some of the ancient world buildings that have been built. But if you take a look here, right, this is one thing about, because I looked at so many Newton Geb glyphs, and all of them show, especially here, I'm gonna zoom in. Can you see how I zoomed in right here?
I don't see no
Oh, it's
special
your
zooming yet. You say you
okay.
zoomed in?
All right, so
Yeah. Okay. Maybe I can. Let me see if I can do it here.
I don't see no differences. Yeah.
Okay. Hold on. Let me see what I can do
Wow.
here.
Wow. This is not the best. Okay, I see it. Oh, I got it up
You see
properly.
that?
Look. Yeah.
Okay.
Now I'm seeing it. I had to
Okay.
go to I
So.
had to go to YouTube to see it.
Oh, all right.
Go ahead.
Um.
Yeah, go ahead.
See right here in all of the Newton Gab pictures that I've looked at, right? They will always show this above the stars, right? Above Newt here. And this
Hmm.
here depicts water.
Yes, I agree.
Like this is why they're on the boat. And then so I was sitting here thinking like, wow, so what's outside of her is water? So are we in like a like is this world like somewhat surrounded by water outside of her? Like these were some of the questions I would ask myself, you know, and when I see glyphs like this, or glyphs like the uh what's another one, like the Norsemen, the Nordics, seeing their
Uh,
cosmology, right, and seeing
uh,
how okay, well, okay, there's got to be some truth here. So here I'll stop sharing.
uh-uh. Oh, don't stop sharing. Leave it on because I'm
Yeah.
studying it. No, I'm not looking at it. And I'm saying I noticed
Oh,
the North. Oh, you got rid of it? Okay,
I mean I can bring it back up if you want.
it's cool, man.
Let me
Whatever. It's
grab it.
all good. I'm good.
Hold on, let me grab it
Uh,
again.
what am I doing? Okay, I'm sure it'll be all right. And I don't want to spend too much of your time. You know, I want to be respectful of your time too. We've been here, I think, a few hours, so I'm not. And
Oh, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I've been
Yeah,
I've been holding to go to the bathroom.
really, you that. Okay, and I have
But you know
lost
what? You know what I can
control.
do? You know what I can do? You know what I can do? While I
That.
look, give me your email address, and I'll email this to
All
you.
right, that's where didn't I send you the link from my email?
Oh, you sure did, didn't you?
Hmm.
Let me see. Yeah. You sure did. Okay. Yeah, I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you right now. But you're
Oh,
right, Wale.
beautiful.
We'll cut this. We'll cut this short. Let me go use the bathroom and let me handle my little business here, man. Hey, Wale, great conversation, man, and I will look into some of these books that you listed here. You know, I'll do my diligence here.
How many did I? How many do you have?
You gave me three. You gave
What?
me
What?
to look to the teachings of Don Juan.
Uh huh.
You told me to look in the enumeral meaning, the sutras, part one, two, and three, and you told me to look into the Bhagavad Gita. Am I saying that right?
Gita
The
is
Bhagavad.
Gita.
Yeah.
If you go to Google, you can just write Gita, and they'll give it to you because it's very well known by over 6 billion people in India. Big numbers like that, and they all know that story, the Gita, and then another story they do too, which is the Ramayana. Oh man, the Ramayana is a beautiful saga. If you got time, that's a beautiful saga. The Ramayana. You think Horatius, what do you think, the Odyssey and stuff? It's big. Man, you read the Ramayana, it's
Yeah.
not only a thing, but it's written in poetry, and it
Okay.
has such odd poetry rhymings. It has odd rhyming counts on it, like it'll rhyme every eighth sentence or something. and then in between that, it'll rhyme every four sentences, and on top of that, it's still rhyming eight. It's a piece of work. That's a piece of work, the Ramayana, the story
Okay.
of Rama. Rama was the head god, Rama. The story of Rama, they call it the Ramayana. And all the Indians know that story. Like you might go to America and say, everybody know what story, whatever it is, Pocahontas, Little Red Riding Hood, whatever the might be kind of story, Superman, whatever the story is, that's how they know the Ramayana. Everybody knows the
Oh, okay.
Ramayana. It's a beautiful, and it's on YouTube. They got cartoons, all that kind of stuff. But I was just saying the Gita also, but the Gita is small. I suggest you download a PDF and read it, and that way you can get your own interpretation. Because if you get it from YouTube and them, they're gonna give you visuals, and
Right.
those
And they give me
visuals are
their.
not. Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sorry. Sorry. I'm sorry. But yeah,
yeah. You got.
they'll give me their own interpretation instead of reading it for myself. No, I feel you totally.
There you go. I suggest that on all of which one I said, Don Juan, the Gita, and what was the third one?
The innumerable meaning, the sutra, and the Namaho. I think it was that the Buddhism thing.
Oh, okay, no, the way I found innumerable meanings was under the title of a book called The Threefold Lotus Sutra.
Okay, the threefold lotus sutra. Okay.
Just the Lotus Sutra is what they're trying to give you right away because, they don't really want people to read the Threefold Lotus Sutra because of the first sutra is the answer. And anyway, if you get the Threefold Lotus Sutra and you get a chance to read some of it later or something like that, because the Lotus, the immeasurable meanings, you can read that in one night. It's a short thing, just like the Gita. It's a short thing, 1 or 2 hours, you're done. You read
Okay.
the whole book. So
Okay.
I do recommend that, but I say that's the only way I was able to find it as a book is in Threefold Lotus Sutra.
All right. I'll check that out.
But
All right,
those three,
I'm
man.
gonna get off of this. I'm gonna get off of this, Wale. We're gonna have to do this again sometime, right?
Okay.
Right now,
Hopefully,
I'm dealing with this
one love.
California, LA heat right now.
Oh, that's right. You're in Cali. Okay, beautiful. We'll talk soon.
Okay.
Be good to yourself.
You too, man. Thanks for having me on.
One love. I appreciate having T Riggs. We just met and we came on because the conversation was flowing and we wanted to keep it going. I appreciate you listening, everyone. Share, like if you hear it, share it and like it, and comment. Say something. One love.